Tommy,
Yeah,
what's up? We live, man.
yeah.
Mm.
In the last 8 months, there is a flagrant disregard for the rule of law in our country. I always told people that I am too old to tell a lie and too old to die.
Hold up, Cyril.
I am not afraid to die. I made that very clear in my interviews that we have to conform to the rule of law. Hey, Charlie Boys there. Yeah. he said, there are things that must happen in this country, and the president must take charge of that. He is a national leader. For us to take national money out of the executive for the legislature to use it to remove her leadership. Look at that. It is undermining and eroding the base of your leadership. It is a holistic failure on a part of the Unity Party. Chisiri Ali, I agree. They took thousands of dollars from our national budget to go and remove a speaker, to move a speaker. That must it's wrong. It's wrong, and we shouldn't allow them to get away with it. That was wrong, and it'll be held accountable. They think this thing is over. No, I keep telling them. I told them today. If they think that if they fight to remove the speaker is over, they're joking. They're joking. All of them will pay a price for that. They will pay a price for that. You think it thinks, oh yeah, okay. Took the money that can be used to look at.
I was not expecting.
No,
Look at Teoda's brother, right? Teoda's brother passed away because they did some test with it for some where they needed a radiologist to read the test. They had to send it to Ghana to read it because we don't have it in Liberia. The results came back only because the doctor then wasn't working on the weekend, so they were away for Monday. Before the Monday, the man died. Just from a car impact from a car hit accident he was involved in. Why? And she cried. Somebody, my brother shouldn't have died.
Wow.
Yes. That money they spent to RLJ for the last October to December to January. That money could have been used to put into GFK to buy needed equipment for that health hospital. But they're very sensitive to the Liberian people. Took that money to remove somebody from a job, spending money, and you see them today. They're walking with it. They think everything over. It's a joke. It's a joke. Take it for a joke. So Mr. Musa Abu, your folks, they are supporting. They will pay the price for that. Trust me, they won't get away with it.
Nothing will happen here, Chief.
Okay, watch and see.
The functionality has been removed.
Okay.
Nothing you can do about that.
As far as concerned, Jonathan Fanikova is the legitimate speaker of the Liberian legislature. Okay, what you want to say?
So what is this speaker now? Because he's not discharging his
phone. He remains speaker.
But he's not discharging his phone.
Roger Kuhn is fake. He's fake.
He's not getting a minute.
If I go to Liberia, Roger Kuhn, I see him. I will tell him, say you fake. I'll tell him, you are fake speaker. They ain't doing what to me. And he text me like. Oh no, they ain't put security on me. I don't know.
Not tell you. Not tell you.
Okay, let him try it.
But the thing about it,
use power in the country.
Money. The thing about it.
But I wanna ask Abu a question. Abu, I know you don't support. I know you're a die Unity partisan. But I want to ask you: do you believe what happened was right? Do you believe they did? You believe it was done the right way? This is not about whether he's still speaker or removed or didn't remove. All of what you're explaining, right?
Chairman, the thing about it is, I'll answer your question, but I just want to say something, right? Me and myself lack that power or that authority.
No.
I come in to decide who becomes speaker.
But that's true. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't have that authority to decide.
No, have that power. That's true. Yeah.
Ain't getting me? So in this case, given all of what we have said in time past, including you yourself, we still doesn't have that authority to participate in the electoral process at the legislature. We only elect people, they go there and they decide who be speaker for them. So Funati, I want to agree with you somehow that he was not accorded due process. But again, that place is a political theater. Most of the things
So the mere fact that he was not accorded due process, are you not disturbed about that? Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
I'm not disturbed because I'm not disturbed. I'm not disturbed because
you're not disturbed that somebody was not accorded. Somebody like you're not disturbed that due process was not accorded. Is that what you just said?
In my layman understanding,
yeah,
I think it was not accorded due process.
Very good, and you're not disturbed. But you also just said you're not disturbed.
I'm not disturbed. The reason why I'm not disturbed, Chairman.
Yeah.
Two of his colleagues were on local. They were on, I think, one of the local radio stations, and some of the bad lawmakers. What did they say? They say Funati being not just an ordinary lawmaker at the time, being the speaker first among equal and giving the historicity of how Tyler and Dallas Ellis Snow removal was done or were done. In their mind, Funati should step aside. Tell me, I know, given what I have afforded at on Capitol Hill, right? Even some of those people who were seen yesterday on Kun Gavo, they were the same people who said they would never.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. I'm asking you because I want to know, right? It's a political theater, like you said. You will also not be bothered if something similar happened to Richard Cohen in the next 3 months. Will you not be?
But a political theater, anything
I'm putting you on the record. You will not be bothered, right?
That's what I just said to you. The political theater.
I agree. I don't disagree with you that it's not a political theater. That's what I'm saying. So you will not be bothered, correct?
How will I be bothered, Chairman? I don't have jurisdiction who began.
Okay, very good. So also let me ask you a question. And I'm asking you this question because I want to, again, like I said, I'm putting you on the record. You're a young man.
You're on the record, Chief.
Yeah. So tomorrow, if a couple of lawmakers wake up and decide that they're going to put a bill of impeachment on the floor against the president of Liberia, and they do garner the 49 or whatever, or let's just say they get 42, the same number, and they say they want to impeach the president of Liberia, and they ram it through the same way, cause for ruckus, it gets to the Senate. Will you support that?
I'm not saying it will happen.
Oh no, that's not the question I asked you. I said if it happens, nobody was certain anything was going to happen. So
but the probability of it happening, Chairman.
Oh, because it's the president, right?
No, I don't say so, Chief.
Okay, because it's the president.
I don't foresee it, Chairman. I don't foresee it.
I see.
I don't foresee. You know what it means to unseat a sitting president in a democracy like ours? The executive controls everything.
Okay, good. I see. And you're fine with that.
About that, though.
No, I know. And like I said, look, listen. I am a realist. I know one thing is that power is a perishable commodity.
Absolutely.
You only have power when you don't have it, and many people don't understand when I say that. You only have power when you don't have it, because power is like a what did you need? Power is like a vehicle, right? It's like a brand new car. When you purchase a car, the moment you drive that car, it starts to depreciate. But the trick behind that is that power can also be an antique, an old vehicle that is worth a lot. The reason why power can be an antique vehicle that is worth a lot, is how you take care of that vehicle. And I am very cognizant of the fact that what has happened, there will be repercussions. And let me tell you, I don't know what it will be, but I think the Unity Party government, this president and this government will look back on what recently happened. the way it happened. And what I find fascinating is how everybody just, I was looking at all of them today, and it's so fascinating how everybody just going about their normal business. This is normal, and I sit and I wonder, and I'm like, wow, we Liberians, we're a very special group of people. We are very, 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 very special group of people, where we do things. We know we're doing things the wrong way, but we think because it's expedient, we allow it to happen. But then when the consequences happen, right? When there is a full circle moment, we then tend to act like we don't know where it came from, So I wish you guys well. I hope and pray that this government understand what it is, because there are many. You can already predict the way how a lot of things that has happened. You can literally predict that there's going to be a lot more things that that eventually may come back to haunt this government. But we wait and see. Like I said, I was watching them today, and it was just fascinating to me the way I saw everybody acting like, if this is you could clearly see today that things are not normal. You could clearly see today that things are not normal.
But let me announce. Okay, Maya, I just spoke with Maya. Maya is home. He said the IG sent people on the scene to get him out. Thanks to the closing argument. Thanks to our viewers and everyone who were involved. Maya is home safely. We will resolve it. Thank you. That's why it's good to have a platform. Excuse me, where you can make people be heard. Thank God he's home safely. Mine just 18-year-old in 12th grade, small boy, young boy, he live with his mom. Yeah, small young boy. Yeah, I mean, so just young boy living with your mom. He attended Bishop Maui. He graduating. He just come out of school and go to the station to help us. But what Ben was saying, right? Let me say this quickly. Abu. I see what's happening now. Now I see, and remember the rescue team. They were united. They were united.
We are still united.
I come in now. Let me break it down. John Maluna, where's John Maluna? He's not there. He's not there. He want right now. I bet you tell him about Baga and rescue and dreaming. He will tell you, say you might jump from him. Amara Kone. I saw Amara crying that day when I won. He was crying. She's not coming from her nose. He was crying, happy. Yeah. Today, Amara now, I see he and Daniel Sanders then all fighting now. The diabetes spokesperson of the government going back and forth. Then I see who again? You go to Stanton. Stanton was using a platform to promote your fundraise, everything. Today now, you say Stanton, I didn't want to hear if I'm going to say Stanton want or through the government by inciting people. Now he accused them of trying to incite the people to go through the government. And that's small thing talking, so big thing talking. If I gone to now, so now if I gone stand up all body right today, now they are far apart. Okay, then you go to Delon. Delon now start talking. He say he apologized for accusing we have using a private jet. Now Delon is having a 360. And what can happen, Abu, according to politics, right? What we have seen over the years, as it just started, 2025, right? What they don't say, 10 officials there who are appointed, who been acting, they got to come for confirmation hearing now. And some 10 officials then, I can bet you they're trying to deny them, to reject some of them. So what's going to happen?
But they don't apologize to the President George. Yeah.
Now I said, yeah. So right, what's going to happen? Some 10 officials there, they don't know will reject them. Now, and mind you, Ben, the point that coming right, mind you though, I can tell you straight, Delon Yombly then knows that they and Kun and a group, then they will not coexist. They will not coexist. It will split. And how they will start to fall apart. When it start to fall apart, Kun will be on one side with another group. Delon Yombly will be on one side. Delon will try to come back. We come back and say, no, let's try to get Ben Sevi then back. Let's see what we can do to reconsolidate to come back.
I mean,
Abu, I know Liberian politics,
Abu,
man.
do you listen to Senator Dillon today?
Yeah.
I did listen to him, Chairman.
You know, say,
man,
they gotta be straightforward. They rescue it, they gotta do what it's going to do. What's not gonna happen, Abu? You'll see it.
No, it won't happen.
Listen,
to money. Chairman Ben, Senator Dillon, Senator Yombi Kanga, Jacob Smith, Daniel Sanu, Edward Klatume. They are all partisans of the Lower Party. That's why the fragmentation that existed between them during the 2023 elections. But you cannot negate the fact that they are not partisans of the Lower Party. They are all members of the Lower Party.
Yeah, Unity Party.
Yeah. But I wouldn't Unity Party, Chairman. Why about ANC?
Unity Party the principal corporate, man.
No. Why about ANC? But again, I don't want to narrow the conversation to that, right? To money.
Yeah.
It is an integral part of people nature. Where you have people, multiplicity of people gathering, there will always be disagreements. As a government,
but Tommy, you know something? Abu, you know something?
No,
something I listened to when Dillon was apologizing for that plane. But Dillon also said that they want buy plane. Oh.
Dillon said today, yeah. He said
so money in the budget to buy one plane for the president.
Dillon know very well that we can't afford a plane right now. You know that. Why you can't even face JFK. You talk about
let
plane?
Me tell you something, because when you see it like that, yeah. You're not be surprised when United Party buy one plane. Just watch and see. Watch and see the next year budget. And you watch and see next year budget, and you see some kind of 40 or 30 million in it to purchase presidential jet. Remember this conversation?
Yeah, but what you're going to see happen, it will come a time very soon, you'll find out that because when they don't want to act tough on Bugger, and Bugger is stubborn, probably too. He's stubborn. He will not let you get away. He will fight back. Then the problem will start. It will come a time in the next 2-3 years. You'll see. They'll say, oh, they don't see the president again. Oh. President, they don't see eye to eye again.
Oh man.
United Party trust me.
Yeah. Then you see
they don't start making them feel uncomfortable. Let me tell you something.
Ben, listen, and why what happened, Abu? Me too, Sonny. Kun not care for me. What happened to him? The UP board will find that Kun getting too much and stronger. They say, they got take one and maybe then you will close us. So they will start. You see that mumble bombing starting now. Start that problem coming. Trust me.
Tomorrow, let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
The intellectual class of the Unity Party. The
intellectual class. What are you?
Listen, the intellectual class of the Unity Party. And I'm urging you and Chairman Ben to do far findings about the section about to make. Who has total control over the intellectual class of the Unity Party?
No, I agree with you.
As a bull, the Bwaka, you name them. So for you to say the Unity Party, and that's a feature, you are the feature leaders of our party.
Listen.
What do you mean?
I believe the vice president has two reasons why he has been successful in consolidating, right? One, because the president is aged. The president more than likely may not run for re-election. I'm not saying he will not. I say may not. More than likely, the next person in line for the team to coalesce around will be the vice president. And then secondly, look, you got to understand, and this is where I give your UP some credit. And many people may not like to hear this, but this is where I give them some credit. There is an unspoken rule when it comes to governance. It says you treat the president, they say treat the vice president as good as you treat the president, because you never know. Because the vice president is a heartbeat away from the presidency, right? So I think the Unity Party folks, I think Vice President Jeremiah Kun has consolidated very well. I think he has put himself in a position of enormous power. I think, look, contrary to what people think, I think Jeremiah Kun arguably is probably one of the most powerful vice presidents we've had in our country in a long time, if not ever. I don't know of any time where a vice president had this much control and power and leverage over the functionaries of government, Tomini. Whether we want to agree or not, these guys, VP Coon has coalesced, he has consolidated, and at the end of the day, I think he has done a great job.
Ben, it's only because you know what, Ben, you know what happened? It's only because the fact of the matter now. Mind you now, you people then, they are very strategic. You know that.
Yeah.
The problem with them right now, honestly, right? The problem is that right now they know that because Vice President Coon is happy away from the presidency. So
but
now,
that's what I just said.
I come in now, so they know that anything happens now, he becomes the president of the country. Number one. Number two, mind you, if things continue, Bogars, everything going forward, come 2020, 26, 27, and they find out Boga is still energetic and still up to the task, you'll start seeing friction. Take my word.
But no, but I disagree. Tommy.
For now, right now, you'll see it. Because they will cause.
No, I disagree. I do not believe there will be friction. Let me tell you why there will not be friction. If President Joe Boca is healthy, strong, agile, and ready to run for re-election, there's no reason why Jeremiah Coon will want to fight. Jeremiah Coon would sit. I agree with that. He would sit right where he is, right? In fact, let me tell you something. That's when he would even be more powerful. Because let me say this: if he sits where he is, and let's say they go to the election, and the current president wins re-election, I think Jeremiah Coon will even be more powerful than the president.
I agree with that one too.
Because at the end of the day, it is at that time, President Joe Biden will be what, 86, 85, 86 years old. He practically will be running the government. And like I said, whether people want to agree or not, Jeremiah Coon is possibly one of, or if not, the most powerful vice president we've had in our history.
Why you say that, man? Why has he done so much?
It's not what he has done. It's what he has not. But let me see now. It's not what he has done. It's what he has. It's what you have not seen him do. Oh. It's how he has consolidated. Tommy, you know, in government, right? The functionaries of government don't normally kiss up or suck up to the vice president. They all kiss up and suck up to the president. They do that for a reason. And the reason they do that, Tommy, is because if you have an agile president, you saw the thing happen recently with Joe Taylor and George Weah. The reason you saw, to the extent where the former vice president was disrespected a lot, right? Because there was never a point in mind where people thought, oh, she could take over, or you know, George Weah not running for re-election. That possibility was not there. It's not the same case here. The case here you have, like you rightly said, right? Vice President Coon is vice president to an aged president, to a president who we all know is not in the best of health. We know that. This is not a secret. He has said that, right? We pray for the president's health. We pray that he sees his term through, but we are mortal human beings. And the vice president is a heartbeat away from the presidency. And what do you think functionaries, parastatals, will want to see? You think they will want to piss the vice president off? They will not want to piss the vice president.
I agree, Ben. I agree. That's why you see that they are coalescing. They are coasting towards him. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that if this trend now come 2020, 26, 27, coming to that 27, 28, if they realize that the president is he's not going to see re-election, or he's not really having the stamina to continue.
Yeah,
what will happen? They will try to talk about primary business in their own party. Talk my words.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I don't see it. But will I welcome Winfred and Anthony Gay? I don't see it happening, Tommy. I think Coon has this thing. Look, anybody who tries anything internal, right, with the level of consolidation I've seen from Vice President Coon, if anybody try, and let me tell you something, this recent removal of the speaker even solidifies it more. Everybody knows. It's not a secret that the vice president was very sympathetic and supported this removal. In fact, there is conventional wisdom that speaks to the fact that the president was not even in the know of this, that he did not even want this. And for the vice president and for these guys to have been able to convince the president to come along on this train, It tells you the level of influence that Vice President Kuhn used right now in the country. And nobody should underestimate it. This notion that when they're going closer, if there's a tendency where Bawka may not want to run, there may be some rebellion within the Unity Party. I am not saying that there may not be rebellion here and there, but I'm saying you saw how Kamala Harris consolidated the Democratic Party. It probably will even be faster the way Jeremiah Kuhn will consolidate the Unity Party going into 2029. Now, if they can win,
the consolidation was to what end, Ben?
What I'm saying, if they will win, winning is another conversation. But I'm talking about consolidating to go to the elections. That's what I'm talking about. But Winfrey, you can chime in.
But let me read a comment. Very wrong analysis, Ben. The best and most powerful VP in Liberian history is the late President William Arrott Tubman.
And that is a big black lie.
Not true.
What
power did William Tubman have? When Tubman died, when Tubman died, they wanted to replace William Arrott Tubman.
No, but guess what now? Tubman, when Tubman was going to London for a medical study, he left J. Rudolph Graham in charge of the as acting of
when Tubman was going, you mean?
When Tubman was going, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So when he left now, when he died, we're trying to hide it from Tubman.
But Dominic, that was after the man was dead.
Yeah, but that Tubman was powerful because guess what?
No, he was not powerful, Dominic. He was not powerful, and I don't know if maybe
no president can leave the vice president in charge when they try to say the president. Why he's away? The minister of this will act.
I think we're saying the same thing. I think we're saying the same thing. We're not disagreement we have.
I'm saying the same thing.
Exactly, that's what I'm telling you.
You talk not powerful. That bit here. You talk not powerful. We're going to be the president.
He cannot be because the Constitution don't say that. The Constitution don't say that.
What are you trying to do, Ben?
So you are going to say Rudolph Graham are going to circumvent the Constitution? He could not circumvent the Constitution.
That's what the two parties were very powerful.
Contrary to what people believe, William Arrott Tubman as vice president, he himself read William Arrott Tubman books. William Arrott Tubman was a meek vice president to William V.S. Tubman. He could not even afford to be powerful because and that was the reason. One of the reasons why. Anyway,
you're coming.
Go ahead, and Winfrey. Maybe you.
No, I mean, I think Ben makes a very powerful argument, and what makes this powerful to me is and it again, I think it's about happenstance, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's something that is tangible, that is something that you can hold on to. And because a lot of people, at least if I'm understanding where he's going with this, is that the only reason why the current vice president may be seen as very powerful is because of what people expect to happen. It's because of that expectation that a lot of people think that, by virtue of that, this guy is powerful. But according to what the other brother said about Tolbert in and of itself, as a vice president, without all of those other things around, he was powerful, or the most powerful. But Kuhn is powerful because people think that Bawka is frail, and by virtue of that, they don't want to piss him off, so they think that they're going to rally around, they're going to come around him because he might likely, by happenstance, get to the presidency. So by virtue of that, people, and so that's part of why you think that he's powerful, because people don't want to piss him off, and say, okay, let's rally around this guy, because I think something is going to happen here. You know, let be strategically smart about not trying to push this guy aside, because this guy is most likely going to you know, to be the next president based on what they think Boakar's health is. And I think that's a, you know, I think that's a very dangerous premise to ride on, Ben.
And Winfred, so Anthony can come in, but let me say this. I give several scenarios, right? One, President Joe Boakai. If President Joe Boakai decides that he's going to run for a second term, right? Again, let's put this thing in context. President Joseph Boakai will be 85 years old if he attempts to run for re-election. That's the age he will be. He's 80 right now, right? He's 80 right now. He will be 85 years old if he intends to run for re-election. 2, if he does intend to run for re-election, Vice President Jeremiah Kun is not going to challenge him. He's not. In fact, that's the meantime Vice President Kun will sit under Joseph Boakai and do everything Joseph Boakai wants to do, right? Because if he gets re-elected, if that ticket gets re-elected, more than likely, you have Kun in the situation. If you think he is powerful now, that's what I'm saying. If you think he's powerful now, he'll be more powerful then. Let's go to the second scenario. The second scenario is if the president decides, I'm not going to run for re-election, right? I'm 86. I've done what I had to do. I want to turn it over to a new generation. Who is the new generation right now? Who is the person? In fact, what was one of the reasons he picked Kun? According to him, even though we all know it was because he wanted to win Nimba, but he said, because you know what? I want to give the new generation a chance, right? I'm putting somebody on my ticket who represents the future, who represents the new generation. And because even Abu said it just now, that the intellectual class of the Unity Party has coalesced around Vice President Kun. So this notion that potentially you will have people who, you know, that potentially you will have this rebellion within the Unity Party against Jeremiah Kun, I don't see that, because Kun is the closest to that standard bearership than anybody right now. That's what I said.
Okay. So Ben, I think for starters, we have to define what you mean by the most powerful. Okay, what does that mean? Because you see what B.N. Gayflor Balakeseli is saying, which what I was alluding to. You know,
I agree. What you mean by that? I'm not talking about education. I'm not talking about connection. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about raw politics on the ground. We're talking about a vice president. But Winfred, we all know the role of the vice presidency in Liberia or in any of the democracies, even in this very America. They tell you, the vice president's job is to sit there and attend funerals and wait and listen to what the president say he or she should do. It is the president that can give his or her vice president the leverage to be able to do certain things. You saw it with the Obama and the Biden marriage, right? Where Obama was intentional and said, you know what, I'm not going to have in fact, that was the agreement. I'm not going to have a vice president who's going to be a window dresser. You saw it also with the Kamala and the Biden relationship.
Okay, how about Bush and Dick Cheney?
But Dominic, we're saying the same thing. That's my point. The president gives you the leverage. Now, when I talked about arguably the most powerful in our history being Kun, is because we know how dominant I'm not talking about the tail end of William V. Stockton's presidency before he died. I'm talking about for the 27 years that he governed for, right? I think Tauber was vice president for 18 or 27 years, because I think he also had another vice president. And then I think died.
Is it Green? Was it Green?
Green, somebody.
Yeah.
And then
the guy was Sino, right?
But yes, but for those 18 years that Tauber was vice president for, people, when you talk to people who study history, they said, in fact, that's why they used to compare Boakai and Tauber. Because they said Tauber was in his shadow. Torba only started showing his grit and his wit
When he became president.
Yeah. Nobody knew, nobody used to even see what Torba used to do because of the. My man said, when you even think about, you know how dominant Torba was. Go to Dole. That's why I say our history, right? Go to Dole. There has been what kind of power?
That comparison. I remember people were making that comparison, but we've come to see that.
But Benedict, look, don't forget though. You see, when Todman had a grip on the country, right? I agree, Todman, right? But then what happened was, now Torba King was different, a different mindset when he became vice president. If you notice, there was some fracture within the TUI party. That's how come you saw the old legs of Richie Henry and Frank Torbert. They were like, the Torbert guy want to come and be bring the other guys, the additional boys that are coming.
No, but that was when he was president.
He started doing it. He was president of the Senate. He started doing it. Oh yeah, Ben. Yes. Torbert
was vice president. Oh, Torbert vice president. Torbert
president of the Senate.
Yeah, but what Tomlin is saying, he was laying that foundation.
Yeah, the foundation.
I'm not saying he never laid the foundation. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, but you never saw functionaries of government toeing to talk. Listen, you told me to know what I'm talking about. Functionaries of this government. You listen. What his name? Jeremiah Cohn. The influence that Jeremiah Cohn have on functionaries in this government. You can't compare it to what Torba had in the 70s. I mean, in the 60s, the 50s, and the 70s.
Okay, Ben,
Tommy, let me.
We have many on the platform now, right? Lord Scott, welcome.
Welcome. You know what? Let me start arguing lazy. On camera.
Okay, Ben. Before you go, do you think?
No. I'm on. I don't need to.
No, he's coming on camera. He said.
Oh, okay. So do you think though that the fact that Jeremiah Cohn was a representative, then he went through the Senate, and then became vice president. That I don't know Torba history. What did Torba serve in the national legislature in our Congress?
But I don't think it even had anything to do with it.
Okay. No. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm asking you if you think that's part of it. I mean,
that's not part of what I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about PO, because if that's the case, then Joel Taylor would have been a very powerful vice president.
Okay, got you. Right? All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
exactly. I'm talking about influence in government. I'm talking about when you how many vice presidents in Liberia history that we have that could pick up the phone and call other government functionaries and they would jump at their whim. They can't. Trust me, they will say what the president said.
But is happening now?
But Ben, I can tell you the reason why it's happening the way.
I know it's happening now. Trust me.
Okay.
All right. So Ben, here's the reason why it's happening. But before I say why it's happening, good evening, first of all, Councilman Russell and Lord. How you guys doing? Look, Ben, there is a presumption here that Jeremiah Cohn will be the face of the Unity Party, and he's from a vote-rich county. He's the son of Prince Johnson, and yada yada yada. Right? But let me say this: there's also this factor of Yombli Kanga and the Dillon.
Really?
That of the story.
Is it really?
Really?
Yeah. Hold on, Ben. Hold on. Before you land. Can you
go ahead, Anthony? Go ahead.
Is it really?
So let me just say this. Yes. Jeremiah Cohn right now is throwing money at these guys because he has the financial resources currently. It plays into his strength. So, in many of them mind, Jeremiah Cohn has the resources. Jeremiah Cohn from a vote-rich country, but Jeremiah Cohn has no AXA connection, international connection. Even within the Unity Party right now, many of them don't even have the international connection. The only time Jeremiah Cohn will be a factor in Liberia if the Unity Party succeed in this administration. If they do not succeed, Jeremiah Cohn just in Liberia in itself, will not win the presidency unless the opposition, like my party, just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, but Anthony, not two different things we're talking about. We're not
No.
talking about winning the presidency.
I'm taking a different angle, right? You took a stab at the issue on a different angle. I'm giving you a different perspective here.
Oh, okay.
All right. Because part of the reason why that presumption is there is because in their mind, financially he's strong, he's younger, he was a senator, he was a representative from the vote-rich county, and he played an integral role for them to win this election, right? So already, they are already formed friends of Jeremiah Kun. That's not a secret. There's a friend of Jeremiah Kun already.
Oh, really?
They have that group chat, they have that teleconference, they do all of those things. They're already doing it right now as we speak, right? So it's not a hidden secret. This is an open secret to you. But they think that will prepare him to get to the next level is for this government to deliver. And for the other opposition member to sit dumb and do nothing. But in the next 4 years, their next thing they're about to launch on January the 15th of the quote-unquote their policy with the 5-year plan of $8.1 billion is focused on donor funding year after year after year after year.
Anthony.
So Jeremiah Kun does not have the presidency waiting right here unless, God forbid, just say Yuma Bwaka, God called him earlier, that's the only way. But if Jeremiah Kun should go to an election in Liberia to win the presidency, the opposition gotta be sleeping.
Thank you. I want also bring Lloyd Scott. Lloyd is one of the few guys that I know politically who we have some of the same alignment. I don't know if he's gonna agree with me on this one because he always surprise me and he do a left cut, right? But Anthony, I just want to say before Lloyd coming quickly, I was not talking about potentially him winning or not winning. I was more focused on the governance right now, where they are, what kind of influence he yields. Like I said, I have seen 2 or 3 vice presidents in Liberia history, right? I've interacted with them, know them personally. I know the influence that Jeremiah Kun, Jerry, let me stop calling him man, Jerry. Vice President Kun is a friend. I know him. I know the influence that he holds right now. And I have not seen in recent memory any vice president that holds the kind of sway and influence that he has right now, the way he moving. So maybe let's get Lloyd to come in and then we'll go back to Winfred and Tommy and everybody can jump in. Lloyd, it's good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you. Good evening, fellas. So listen, I think you can have both, Anthony. I think you can have a powerful Jeremiah Kun as a VP who's not equipped to be president.
Agree.
I think it doesn't have to be.
That's not the issue. Yes. Yeah.
And I think we're talking about powerful vice president, we're really talking about, especially in this new dispensation, right? Since 2005. But as much as I believe right now, actual raw power, Kun is exerting it, at least within the system, I think a more effective vice president in terms of power, maybe I don't want to say effective because I don't think he used it as well as he could, was Joe Boyka, who had institutional responsibilities given to him.
And a president who was not uncomfortable
with that.
In her skin. Exactly.
I think if Boyka was more assertive, then the discussion about Kun would not even be there. But Boyka also understood the institutional role. A young man doing a Willie Top of VP years. Also played the role, even though you gave me a lot of power. I appreciate it, but I'm not going to use it because it might upset the establishment. So I think raw power to looking at Kun. Now, I do agree with you that Kun will have some challenges ascending to the presidency for some of the reasons you talk about and other reasons. But I think as VP goes, but what will happen is that the United Party has proven itself very adept at self-destruction. There will be some inner fightings coming pretty soon that I think that will help to dilute that. But right now, as it is, certainly, I think he's ruling it, somewhat, and that's what people will start remembering. And I don't mean to be funny about our politics is not divorced from tribes, right?
True.
Nima VP abusing power again will be something that the opposition should be very, very smart to exploit the even elements within the UP. When the Goths who are in the wings, when the Armor Connects who are thinking about going back home with the intention of running, when they all have to come together and fight. You talk about it, Dillon and Yumblies, I think they're lesser, they're not as sharp as they themselves believe they are, but they will be there fighting also. So I do agree with Ben that right now, if we look at the history of the country, he is a guy that's willing to more so, but I also share your sentiments that does not necessarily mean it catapults him to the presidency.
And before we leave you, Lloyd, I just want to ask you, then we'll go to Winfred. Do you think, and this is exactly where I was coming from, right? But let me ask you a question. Do you think he's shown his hand too early?
Yeah, I believe.
Do you think because again, like I said, that's something I believe. I believe he has shown his hand a little. I think he has shown his power base too early. Like I said, talking about the functionaries, right? Talking about all these young, because guess what? One thing you said that's true though, right? If an internal revolt does spark, right, and in a sect because you know there are different silos around Joe Buckeye, right? Nobody can figure where the true power really lies. Some people think it's Grisby, some people think it's this, some people think it's the Coon Fighters, some people think it's the young guys. So for some reason, let's say if you said, like you really said, if some kind of tension erupts, right, and there's some kind of power struggle, I think one of the difficulties and the negatives of him showing his hand this early, I mean, as far as showing the world that listen, I got some control here, right? I can wield some things here. Don't you think that's something that they can use against him to say, you know what, it meant, like I said, listen, whether people want to agree or not, we all know Coon. I mean, when I talked to him, he said he didn't know nothing about it. Coon is my friend. So, but we know Coon had a hand behind this speaker thing, right? I mean, there's no if and ands about it. He never really, if he didn't, he would have been as forceful to say, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to say, you know what, this thing is a disruption. But do you see a point where somebody can say, damn, if this guy, or do you think that thought is even happening right now?
I believe it's happening now.
There are people thinking, damn, this guy was able to rally 40-something representatives to be able to do something like this, right? Do you think that kind of thought is happening right now?
I believe it's happening now. I would suspect it is. If it's not happening right now, then some people should be charged for political malpractice who are on the other side of it.
Lord Scott.
No, I believe it's happening now, and I tell you why, right? When Coon was elected, there was this schism within the political establishment in Liberia. Do we pick a guy along with Prince Johnson again? What does that mean for those of us strong UPNs versus we got to go all out, dance with the devil and win, and then we'll settle it, right? The one thing that people were afraid of is that Joe Buchanan may be many things. George Weah them were many things, but George didn't know how to abuse power the way Coon and them are capable of doing it with Prince Johnson's tutelage or guidance. Now he started showing his hand very early. Some would say that our friend Mr. Kofa fell victim to that same thing when people perceived early on that he was playing the long game.
The long game, yes.
Augusto. And that was Coon's first thing. So now that Coon has done that, people can go and see, you see what he's starting. You can't let him amass such strength politically. Bingo. And obviously we have the opposition aiding some of the Unity Party elements in that battle. Bingo. So I think he's showing his hand very, and in fact, I think fate dealt him a bad hand. Few days before Mr. Johnson died, Jeremiah Coon publicly stated that he was no longer part of MDR.
Yes,
he had to join the Unity Party, which I believe as he's one for doing. Yeah. But what that did was that the natural power base he would have had, that when his kids would get in the Unity Party to run to, he took himself from there.
Yep.
Mr. Johnson dies. Now he wants to go back and wrap it around him, and some of us will be there to politely remind him. Yeah, he's going to the party. So so, and I think sometimes when you're too strategic, you can out-strategize yourself.
Yes,
exactly. Helping that. So I do agree with you that he's done it too soon. And there are elements who work in the Unity Party who are now work to the potential presidents of Jeremiah Coon.
Lord, I think Jeremiah Kun will be calling you. I can show you.
But listen, let me say something, right?
That's the fact.
You guys struck some points. But first of all, I'm watching after Prince Johnson is buried, right? I'm watching. Now, what's happening now? I hear from the Nima chat room is that they have said that, and which I know no one will be able to fill his Prince Johnson
his shoes.
No one can fill Prince Johnson's shoes, right? Now, but you notice, like Lloyd said, I know Kun told me that he joined United Party because that day when they were announcing him were there, they had to do a ceremony where you join the party before you go.
And I think that's legally too.
Yeah.
Legally, next.
Yeah.
So
then many people were not aware of that until when he publicly said that
it was intentional.
MDR, right? But
now
it was intentional that he kept it quiet.
Exactly. But here's the thing now, though.
Yeah.
Now, with him, after this burial over, if you notice, Prince Johnson died, who have taken control over it. He have beat the one like the Lord just said. He's the one who's the face of it right now to make sure that Prince Johnson is getting a decent burial, everything. But now, the first thing you see after his burial, the next thing you'll find out now, the replacement of for the seat, right? Now, don't let anybody fool you. Koga he let Kun. I tell you that one now.
Absolutely.
Koga be pretending like say they're not two and they're not cool. Okay, but now I'm hearing for all indications.
And I envisage a fight between Koga and Kun if Koga wins that Senate seat.
Yeah, because Koga, I think Kuna gave a blessing to Koga already, right?
Do we know who all? But
it's not sure yet that Koga will win.
No, I say if. Now I say if.
But I do, yeah, but I do know that I know, Madam Gonglo is in Liberia. She's not running. I don't think she's running, but she's going for the funeral. She's already in Liberia. Madam Gonglo, she's one of the most powerful female from Nima. She's in Liberia.
This is the woman who last election she garnered up to what 38,000 votes.
Yeah,
she's the only one that came closer to
the only person that
all the time, right?
Has she announced openly that she's not running?
No, she didn't announce that she's not running. She was asked the question by Stanton. And her response was, she was a traditional person. The renewal of the senator cannot stay in house and for all to discuss politics.
But I know she's in
but the fact that she's leaving from here to go to
she's already there.
Attend that funeral. Again, guys, this will be the most attended event where many political actors will be on one roof or whatnot. This funeral, right? And so don't overlook her being part of it.
Okay. Let me finish now.
Yeah, but there's a problem she has.
I was making is that.
I want to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, Yan Twain is from the Mana belt.
That's what I was going to say. Yes. So she's not working against her.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No. Yeah, but guess
what? She's a female and already had a 38,000 votes.
My man, you sound like United Party people who used to say
Ben, I had a discussion on the weekend with somebody about that same thing. Person said to me, that thing you're talking about, whether that two minor person on the seat or Gil, he said, don't fall for it. Anything happen.
I don't see it happening.
But let's see what happens.
Do we not have two Gil
after PYJ is buried, right? When he's buried, we'll see now what happens. Now, besides that, if what come back to Kuna, if other Prince Johnson is buried, if he does not have, he now wield that power as a strong Ibayan, still within Nima can have control on Nima, it may make him to be a weaker candidate because you find that you don't have that grip over Nima County like the Prince Johnson, like how he had it. They will say, well, let look somewhere else. You can never tell what can happen because trust me, Ben, the rescue team. They came against a coalition. They will fight. They will fall apart. They're gonna fight, and when the fight will be nasty, and it will affect whoever will be on the ticket. Even Bogart running said you can never tell what can happen tomorrow. So it will be a nasty fight, and problem will start. So don't just say, "Oh, the person." Right now, first you want to know how powerful the person is, the position in government. How was he influential in appointing people in government? Was he influential? Yeah?
Of course he was.
The cabinet.
Of course he was.
The cabinet.
Of course he was. Listen, Dominic. They let that fire. Stop playing devil's advocate. You know he was freaking influential. So why are you acting like you don't know? He may not have appointed people who people wanted to see him appoint, and that's one of the reasons why Prince Johnson was vexed with him. We know that.
Yeah, we still have to stay.
Who was very influential in appointments. You know that, Dominic. So why trying to play that thing? I let them that your closing argument here. I told you.
So Ben, you blaming Kuhn for some of the mishaps that happened in government with the appointments?
Yeah.
But they were not significant appointments, though, Ben. They were not significant appointments. They were not like, I mean, they were like low-level appointments.
No. I am saying to you, Winfred, many people who got jobs but may not have publicly credited Kuhn was influenced by Kuhn. Listen, what I'm saying to you guys here is this guy, and that's why I said I was extremely shocked that he showed his hand. I think the speaker thing was the wrong move.
Ben, after the speaker thing, the MDR, article publicly announcing that he's not a member of MDR. He didn't owe any explanation to anybody.
Well, yeah, listen, that one. I mean,
why did he have to do that? Was it a requirement for NEC?
Yes, that's a requirement.
Even though he did that, but nobody knew that.
I don't know if it's a requirement from.
No, it is. It is, Lloyd.
No, it is a requirement.
Most of the
parties, run on the party ticket, you must be a registered member.
You have to be a member of the party.
A member of the party. So even if they
because you have to understand, Unity Party, the alliance was not registered to NEC.
Yeah, well, not
it ran as Unity Party. It's not like CDC. Like Jua didn't have to resign from MPP to run for CDC ticket because they registered the NEC as a coalition. When you register the NEC as a coalition, you can stay in your party and still bear the standard of the coalition. But that's not the case with the Unity Party.
But Mr. Gay, why I think Jeremiah Kuhn felt the need to come out. Remember that at that point in time, Prince Johnson was becoming an albatross around his neck.
People
were using it to weaken him. People were using it to weaken him.
You see that I said me and Lloyd. You see that I said the guy.
Yeah, but
and then at that same time also, so you're taking the burden for Prince, and Prince is issuing coming fire towards you is coming from Prince's direction. So what he thought to do was to reassure the Unity Party people that hey, I'm a part of UP. I'm not fighting the MDR proxy war. Unfortunately,
he didn't think he was going to die.
Fate was not cooperating with him.
Yeah,
he should have gotten some astrologers to work with him and tell him what was happening a week later.
I know, right?
If you want to ask Kuhn right now, he possibly maybe may not have made that statement.
He would not. I don't think.
Maybe that's why you saw him. I mean, like openly sobbing and crying all over the place.
Exactly.
You may have the financial strength.
You saw any tears?
No, man. I got two fingers.
No, I think he did cry. Listen.
He cried.
Lord. Don't start, Lloyd.
You play the video.
I know you very well, Lloyd. Don't start. I
pay attention to those details.
I know you. Now I say you are political. You are political. You are Frank Underwood, ex-political. So I know you very well. You can pay attention to even the smile, to the body language and all of that. But I think the death of Prince Johnson did hit him, right? I think. Listen, say what you want to say.
Yeah, they were not in the best of terms. So
they were not in the best of terms, but I think there was this thing where I think it was shocking to all of them.
That whole shock factor.
It kind of knocked them off. But listen, I think, and I probably want us to pivot a little bit to potentially let's discuss something regarding the opposition as a whole. But to end on this Kuhn thing, I think he needs some recalibration. I think, again, like I said, I think the speaker thing kind of, and then plus I don't think they expected it to last this long. I didn't, and which I found very shocking because Fonati is a crew man, and if you know anything about crew people.
They're very resilient people.
Very resilient and hard-headed. I don't understand why they thought this was going to be a slam dunk, right? I think it has put a real damp and a real cloud over them, and I'm waiting to see how they navigate this thing because it's still not over yet. Many people think it's over. I still don't think it's over yet. I think with Kofa still hanging out there, they can say what they want to say. It'll
be interesting to see what happens during the Sona, though.
I think the Sona is going to go on.
I think Kofa not going to.
I think Kofa is not going to attend the SONA.
I think that's what they expect him, but they'll be surprised. Nothing will happen. But
nothing will happen.
You all just said the guy's high-headed. So
but you see, when I say high-headed,
he's high-headed, but he's not a stupid guy.
He's not stupid. He's not suicidal. Yeah, he's not suicidal. So he probably is knowing Fonati. He's probably living to fight another day, right? It's almost like, you know, a good general always lives to fight another day. And again, like I said, but one thing he has done is to leave this cloud hanging over them without the resignation. That's why you hear everybody clamoring and begging for this resignation. My man Jerry Zahn in the name of you know, in the interest of the country. Yeah. And you know, that's why you hear them still doing that, because as long as he has not resigned, there is always going to be a legitimacy question over Coon. Over that, you know, what they're doing and how they're doing, and then the budget that they sign. So we wait and see how that plays out, and we'll wait to see what role, and then also in how they govern themselves moving forward, right? How they because with all the noise, it could eventually come back to haunt them. Where I wanted us to pivot also has to do with there's all these different excesses that are happening in the country, guys, right? And there's some folks saying, where is the opposition, right? Where is the opposition? Where is the voice of the opposition? We rewind to George Weah first year. I mean, George Weah didn't even get a honeymoon period. I mean, I think it was the moment he took a hand from the Bible in, you know, at SKD. You know, it reminds me of there's a documentary on PBS where they say when by the time Barack Obama became president, Newt Gingrich, Frank Luntz, and some other guys were meeting at a restaurant in K Street, plotting how they were going to
Mitch McConnell there.
Yeah, plotting how to handicap the Obama president.
General to make sure that
Obama failed,
doesn't succeed, right? Yeah. So I see the same thing happen. I mean, that's kind of like what happened with Weah, right? To the extent where people started, I mean, immediately. But the question now is, where is the opposition with everything that's happening?
Yeah, Ben, let me chime in quickly. For the opposition, right? I think I wrote one chat room today. What's happening right now? Someone's supposed to benefit. When you find a ruling establishment when it starts to crumble, somebody got to benefit from it. Either an opposition leader or political party. But what I'm seeing as a UP rescue team start to crumble, I don't know whether somebody's taking advantage of it. You should benefit from it. Take advantage of their crumbling. Because I was just telling you earlier today in the show that you saw it. Our friends Stenton now, here and there, that they are on sideways. You saw Fagon attacking Stenton today. You see Malu on the other side. You see Amara on the other side. You see what's happening right now. They don't start talking today. And mind you, Theodore is on the ballot for 2029. He telling people say he's not running. I can tell you what
he's gonna run.
I can't remember anything. Well, I can tell you, politics, Liberian politics, how looking. It's so charming. Right now, you will say I'm running, but guess what? They don't start beginning the voice of reasoning. You see what he's doing right now? That gradually starting to say, I think we'll run George Weah. We should now talk about private jet. We see the need for private jet now. All things happening now. But in other words, opposition, all that's happening right now. They have not benefit. They're not making no effort to say, well, let's take advantage of it. Maybe they're saying it so soon. But I can tell you, if you're serious, you better don't say you're waiting for 2026 or 2027. Start now. Start now. Because as soon as the president gave his State of the Nation address, you start from there. In your response and start and get on it. A top opposition leader told you, myself, Ben, that I think they weren't fair to George Weah. They're attacking too soon. But they were giving Boga this break. After the first SONA, they will break the silence. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
But right now, so far, before you, since the election, only Weah and Cummings. I think Moneybag
put out one statement after.
And all of them have been lukewarm.
Yeah, but so what we want to see a fiery opposition leader or fiery opposition party.
Come on,
Lloyd, I want to hear your take on this.
Yeah, look, I think what's happening will inure to the benefit of the titular head of the opposition, which is George Weah. The more others keep silent, the more others don't say anything. George has already been through the fire. Without talking, George benefits the most, right? So I'm not going to give any opposition leader one cookie who says that we were too harsh on George Weah, so we're giving Boakai time. It's been 1 year, the 22nd of this month or thereabouts. So let's stop playing that game. For me, that is disingenuous, at the highest level. Okay. I respect opposition leaders who come and say, look, we were exhausted. We ran in a very, very challenging environment. We took the last year to regroup, and now we're going to start focusing. I can give them respect for that because we were all in the kitchen, all in the fire. But if somebody says that they've been intentionally giving Boakai time, then for me, that person is rendering himself or herself manifestly unqualified to seek the presidency. If you really say you intended to give time, no. If you use the period to regroup, because once you start, you can't end, I can give you that respect. And I think that we need to start being more, at least much fairer to Liberian people than that, chicken thing. Yes, opposition does need to talk, but every time they acquire, every time we acquire, George Weah benefits. He's the established name. He's the guy that walks in the door with a base. However, people say the base are strong. The base is there. Okay. He gets a mature campaign team because the seditionists will no longer fawn over him like they did, even though some are there. But he gets a solid campaign team and the opposition comes together. It could be very, very interesting. But the opposition cannot afford to go another 8 months with the bigger opposition thing that we did last year. If that's the case, then we should let pray for UP to self-implode. Take it from there. Yeah, we can't afford that.
Great thought. Let's go to Mr. Russell and then we'll come to you, Anthony. Mr. Russell, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, so we have an opposition when you have an opposition, in a polarized era that we have now. I mean, it isn't, the opposition in and of itself isn't a passive group. So it is actively reshaping sort of like the political discourse, which then would show or amplify new leaders coming on, and we will continue to advocate for diverse issues beyond the administration in power. So I'm not really worried. I mean, I think it was prudent to give this current administration, the Boakai administration, some space. But I think after the SONA, it's going to be game on, and so we will definitely see some diverse voices, coming on the table and challenging this government. I don't think the silence that we saw last year, I don't think that is going to continue.
Anthony, do you think, as you take a stab at this question, do you think the UP, because they've had a picnic for the last 1 year? Let's be fair. Let's be fair, right? And like Lloyd said, I agree with you, Lloyd, 100%. This notion that we're giving them 1 year and all of that. Listen, we were exhausted. It was a very tough election. We were closed, and we were trying to find our bearings, right? To figure out, and plus figure out how do we hit them, right? But do you think the UP, what do you think from the UP's perspective? How do you think the UP will be able to handle, because this is going to be new territory for them now, right? If you start hearing Moneyback coming out, firing, if you hear Cummings coming out, firing, because all of them have announced, by the way, that they are going to start coming out, right? So and then obviously, like Lloyd said, we may not speak, but you will see maybe a more robust CDC because they will want to keep the crown, right, within the opposition settings. What do you think UP is going to? How do you think UP is going to react? How do you think they're going to react to an onslaught of criticism?
So Ben, first of all, I've been smiling when the whole question came about the opposition. Yeah, Lloyd has a fair point that if we remain silent, it benefits President Weah. I've been smiling because Ben, let me just say this. My name right there says ANC-nationalist, right? And the reason, Ben, is because I'm not hiding my political party. And I'm not ashamed of my political party. And I'm here on this platform to tell the Liberian people that we're going to be very active. Ben, I'm glad that I was part of the postmodern team to do a close assessment of what we went wrong, right? And I can also say, Ben, we're going to be very active. You're going to see a different comings. This 2025, 2026, 2027. If we don't do our homework, if we don't do what we need to do, we should forget about 2029. By the end of 2026, if I don't see my party doing what it's supposed to do, you won't see me on the platform talking about ANC and any other party. And the reason, Ben, is we went to work right after the election, and that multiple ANC in the diaspora, gone, man. We got one ANC diaspora. So all the different ANC that you knew before, gone. We have one ANC diaspora. That is the news for you. And that's a regrouping.
But how does that have an effect on the ground? We're having one ANC diaspora.
Yeah, because
the ANC. So say what you want to say about the ANC. The ANC had the most prolific machinery in the diaspora, but it still didn't.
Because part of the reason why we didn't have an impact that we should have had on the ground is because every different pocket of ANC here affect a different group of ANC in Liberia. Now one diaspora ANC, one ANC Liberia. You see how that works?
I see. Okay.
So that was synchronized together. The information was synchronized. All of our data movement, our communication, everything was synchronized. We were being in sync with each other, right? Because when you have this group, have this other group of people that talking to you like, bro, this other group of the ANC responsible for the other group, you don't get things done the way you wanted it done. Look, when you start an engine and the engine is running, it's because the oil in that engine make a well-oiled machine, right, runs very smooth. The fact here going forward, you will see a different ANC. You will see us in the trenches. Here's the thing I always tell my people. Collaboration is a great thing. Talking about collaboration right now is premature. Doesn't make any political sense for us, because if we do so, we will be treated like we were treated in the CPP, right? Because Ben, what are you coming to the table with? What is your base? What is your focus point? What is your nuclear that you have, right? So my thing here is do your homework so that when they say exam tomorrow, you are pretty. You said, I mean, this is a normal game. This is an influence here. This is a thing about momentum. Politics is very local. It's local. Yes, we can raise all of the money in the diaspora. We can talk on Facebook. I guess somebody that stock the other day, they didn't believe it. The most recent stock that I got yesterday, 3.5 million people in Liberia have access to mobile device, right? 20% of the 3.5 million have access to the internet. 10% of the 3.5 million people can afford to buy data. Only 5% of the 3.5 million people can afford to watch live content like you and I on tonight. They are streaming.
Okay.
That data just proved to me that the radio is the way to go. Because that's the reason why when I'm here, I'm excited because we're on the radio, right? When we're on the radio in the closing argument, it's a very good way. Another thing, Liberian people like to see you in person. They like to shake your hands. It's very traditional country, right? It's not.
So is the ANC going to start is new radio?
So that's what I was going to ask, because I think I'll come back to you, Anthony, on one point. I wanted to get Lloyd thought on this. Lloyd, you have ran campaigns in Liberia for major parties, coming up parties, in between parties. You've been sought out highly, right? I want you to. I'm asking you this question because there's something about, and you were right about Weah, right? Weah being Weah. Everybody knows Weah is President Weah. But when you look at like what Anthony is talking about, all these data and all this thing, I mean, the reason I'm asking is because I know we've been through all of this before, right? I remember when we went to campaign with Liberty Party in 2017. I mean, I don't know any other political institution that had the kind of organization, the kind of infrastructure that we had in place. Where do you think this disconnect comes from, right? That people like Cummings, people like Bromskin, I mean, these Totman, I mean, it had to take Totman to run a CDC stand-up barrel, to be able to get. And you are Old Todman guy, right? I want you to let's dig deep into the Liberian people's mindset. Why do you think there's always been this disconnect with these quote unquote competent people who people can say, you know, I can run the country on day one? Is it that Liberians just don't want competent people to run the country? I'm just asking.
No, not only that. For the most part, competence is boring, right? Incompetence brings excitement. Campaign is an excitable period.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
Competence
It's boring.
It's boring. Yeah.
Boring. Yeah.
It's right.
The excitement and the noise doesn't normally surround competence, right? Because it's easy to do that. Campaign season is an excitable period.
Yeah.
So when you have a Cummings giving a speech,
policy speeches,
a policy speech, when you have a Tubman trying to break down the elements of governance, right?
Yeah.
And you have a Yaka Koluba telling you the road bad, the men are rogue, and the people understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the educated politicians that have thrived in that environment has been a Charles Taylor who knew how to communicate with the locals.
Ellen Johnson.
Even the Ellen who knew how to communicate with the locals, who still know it, right? And so that's where when you have a charismatic, frisky, telegetic presidential candidate who comes to it with that, then you will start seeing something else happen. Dillon, and I'm coming back to you, Tommy, on that thing about Dillon all of a sudden with this political come-uppance that we're not going to buy, because it seems Dillon voted for a flawed speaker just the other day.
Yeah.
To remind him of whatever Jeremiah Kuhn to be recognized. Okay.
Richard Kuhn,
not Jeremiah Kuhn. Thank you, Richard Kuhn. So again, it's our responsibility to be holding these characters honest. Okay. But Ben, when you have that kind of environment, and to Brother Russell, the reason why I still don't believe that this whole year should have been given to them is the discussions we're having now. By 2019, Liberians began to tell us who they were preparing for in the next election.
True.
By 2020, 2021, we knew it was a two-horse race.
Yeah. Yep.
George Weah got elected, inaugurated in January. My people here, thank you, yeah. By March, the man was being pilloried for things that were not even really happening yet. It was a new government, first time. Most of them have been in government. So we knew the kinds of mistakes they were going to make, but nobody gave them a chance. By the time Costa was done with them 6 months later and started pushing the Joe Boyka line, Liberians started saying, and we told you the people can't do it, even their own supporters, because they thought their lives would have been improved drastically overnight, and it didn't happen. So we've given 1 year free pass. The good thing about UP is that they did not win an election as a party. They won with a team, with a coalition.
And very slim too.
Yeah. And so when you win with that team or with that coalition, and you got to keep everybody happy. But there are people within your party originally. I don't believe Goff went back home to be finance minister just because of his extreme and so.
Oh no, you want to be.
I had it on my list to bring it up today.
I'll see that fight then. I do believe if the presidency and Mr. Boyka is still kicking very, very solidly 5 years from now, I don't see how, if he can stand up, he doesn't run again. There's a high potential there. So the United Party will come to grips with itself. One of the things the opposition cannot afford to do is to ignore what's happening to the people and start this intellectual argument again. I mean, Mr. Boyka recognized early on, I need to win. So what did he do? We take it for granted. I'm willing to dance with the devil to win when he told Ben Uranium that statement.
Yeah.
We take it for granted. For 2 or 3 years, I think the singular most pivotal figure in getting Joe Boyka into election year as the presumptive favorite was Henry Costa.
Yeah.
He consistently destroyed Cummings and others and elevated Cummings. He also weakened Weah. He consistently gave Weah body blows. So by the time Boyka get a knockout, Weah was already stumbling in the ring, right? The opposition has to come together. You don't beat.
Lloyd, you come on the show every day, man.
Mama, I beg you. I told you you're closing. This is the late night thing. You don't try to steal our panelists. I beg you.
No.
Go ahead.
I like that analysis.
Yeah, no. the way you take on this behemoth called a sitting government, as the opposition, I share your concerns about coming too soon formally, but you still got to start collaborating or having collaborative discussions very early. When Winston Tuntman became Secretary of CDC in 2011, that discussion started in 2008.
True.
Okay. And so, because you see, the longer you talk to each other, you build relationships. It's difficult to tell your friend no. I can go to negotiation. If I know you, it's easy for me to tell you no and walk away. If I know you, I may tell you no, but then I have to coach it in a certain way where it's more palatable to our friendship. Right? And so the sooner we start having these discussions, holding the government's feet to the fire. Too many things are happening like that. How are we sitting down here and we got 2 speakers in Liberia?
I'm telling you.
Tell me.
How are we sitting down here and the president of the Republic of Liberia is going to Ghana with Richard Kuhn calling himself speaker, who calling session section? How are we
I
sitting
know, right?
And terrorists, tolerance.
Yes.
And he's saying when the parliament to kind of reform it.
We introducing our dialect as the English for the new speaker. We got to start holding them accountable. Why aren't we holding Yummy Kanga accountable for leading her Senate colleagues to vote for Richard Kuhn? I believe she did it for one reason: political survival, because she is afraid that if she doesn't do it,
they will take off. Yeah.
Yes. And so if we don't get together and start holding them accountable, believe you me, in another year, because if Liberian people get disillusioned with us in the opposition bloc, then there's a problem.
But let me ask a question. Okay, we saw
the. Let me ask a question. I really don't give a 30 second to that question that Ben asked with all the experience and the caliber of comments and the lives of Moneyba.
And let me just say something else. Not to because we all support these intellectual candidates. Okay, when you're talking about 3.5 million, then you go to 20% and 10%. The numbers I want you to take from that, how much is 1.5 out of 3.5 million people?
Exactly.
Around 40-something%, right?
Yeah.
Out of that 1.5, you need about 300,000 to 400,000 to enter the second round.
Correct.
Those are the numbers we need to start talking about and make all the other data. That's what we're talking about going to the country.
Yes, I want to say the question, right? When Mr. Cummings were lied on and taken to court, when our case was dismissed, if I was on the ground, Mr. Cummings would not get in a car to walk and go home. Mr. Cummings was going to stand in our car. We were going to parade with Mr. Cummings and celebrate that victory.
Like when Donald Trump got shot. Like when Donald Trump got shot.
That is the Liberian politics right there. You're not going to go in your car quietly and go home. These people lie on me.
Yeah, but
throw the case out.
Anthony, let me ask you a question quickly, and then maybe everybody can chime in on that question. You remember, but Lloyd said something that was very striking just now. By the time we got to the court case, is it fair to say that Cummings was already done?
Yeah, because
nothing have. So what are you have? What if you had stood on the back of a pickup truck with a fist in the air, that the damage had already been done?
No, Ben.
I don't think so.
No, Ben. Let me just say this, right? The Liberian, the ordinary voters, Ben, they go with certain things that we overlook. Here's the narrative of the Cummings fingering document. He claimed to be Mr. Perfect. He one of us. That's the message they were sending. Cummings is not no different from us. We are the same corrupt folks. We do the same thing. This guy is no better. That's why they say he fingered the document, right? So they were telling the Liberian people, even though the guy project himself as a Mr. Clean man, Mr. Honest man, Mr. Perfect, he's not what he say he is.
But that's what I'm saying. So,
Ben, Anthony missing it. He missing it
in the street.
But Anthony, that's what I'm saying.
Ben, Anthony missing it. The reality is that Anthony are you talking? Take it one place. Lord said it earlier. Cummings, look, it was a whole master plan. The plan was, Ben and I know. The plan was
the nail already in the coffin
was to destroy the CPP. They disrupt the CPP, disrupt it, and then we just disrupt Cummings. And what happened? The lawyer said Costa masterminded that. Costa ensured that Cummings was ripped apart, make Cummings to be nobody, right? And Costa did it well, taking apart. Now, like Ben also said, in doing so too, we are affected too. Now, what happened was, once that happened, forget it. The lawyers, it was also now between we are and Boyka now. That way the race was going to turn. Okay, even I remember Ben. Don't forget that side was seen now we are towards it. He attacked. You see your coach. I said that your guy in his tight the text. Yeah, he said was seen now when he said you see that your guy in the tight race now. We're about to go to the runner with Joe Boyka. Then you of course your push back. You say, oh my God, when start was supporting you don't give your face. And we asked, okay, you forget it on the scene side. You left for the winning election. So the reality was, they already said that the goal was let us dismantle CPP. That was the goal. One that took the whole thing when I about coming riding the car. No, it already said the whole plan that we'll get rid of Cummings. They're taking out of the picture and make the thing become we are versus Boyka now. That's their plan. So
yeah, but Timberlake, let me get this right. The plan there is make Cummings look like one of us.
No,
that was their message.
Cummings
is one of us.
Yeah, but Anthony,
the plan was to say that allowing
given that was the message. Given that was the message, I keep going back to the fact that given that was the message, and I want Lloyd, I want you to chime into this also. Given that was the message, all of what you're talking about, I agree. I hear you. There was a message. They say, you know what, Cummings now Mr. Clean. He acting like he clean, but he's not clean through the thing of the document. But my question to you though is, you gave a scenario here. You gave a potential scenario that if you were on the ground, you would have encouraged Cummings to put his face in the air after he won the case. He would not have gotten his car. That's why I asked the question: would that have mattered? Because at that point in time, you got to also understand one of the reasons why if you notice. When did they drop that case against Cummings? They dropped the case.
Cummings got the momentum when you came from the United States.
No. Wait, let me. Who are there, Anthony? The day they dropped that case was the day the Supreme Court ruled that Unity Party and the CPP could split.
Yes.
That was the same day.
Oh, you said they dropped the case.
It was the same day the ruling came out. Lloyd, do you remember when the ruling came out? When because CPP carry UP to say you can't leave this court.
Yes.
Because there's a clause that binds us, right? The day the Supreme Court issued that verdict and said you can't hold anybody, the Constitution protects the right to assemble, to associate and disassociate. It was the exact same day that Serena Silva walked outside after he got a call and said, you know what? The case finished. Because you know why? What somebody said? The deal had already been done. The CPP was done.
And Ben, let me add something to that. What happened?
You're right on that point. I thought you said.
I think Mr. Weah figured that look, CPP fighting. If we get a Cummings man out of the way, we can fight Boyka. The ANC people will not vote for Cummings.
Exactly.
So we can fight Boyka. So they went and they did the number on him. What they didn't factor is that eventually the Liberian people would have coalesced because they were to some extent exhausted with them.
A binary choice, yes.
Yeah, at that point in time. Okay. And the first round of the election, anybody watching it would have concluded one or two things. We are completely cooked, or they have to, the next 2 weeks have to be Weah's hardest week of campaigning. Because they turned out that day. Now, I was impressed that, I don't care what people say about the shenanigans, CDC still performed well enough to
especially Monserrato,
where I thought they lost the election. The Saturday before the second round is one example. Mr. Weah, I am told credibly, played pool, ate roasted meat, and chilled all day. No, yes, and you know what? In a close election, had that guy, he's a populist candidate.
Yes.
He's living around Monserrato to reinvigorate his supporters. You're talking about anywhere from 10 to 20,000 people that could have
right there. Yep.
And I think that's what those last 2 weeks, I think they were convinced that no matter what, we'll beat this puppy. Unity Party was out there campaigning. Again, Unity Party was very, very good in the sleuth operations when it came to the PR. They will lie on you on Sunday tell you sorry Sunday afternoon, lie on you on Sunday night. I mean, they did it with gusto, with pride, and with dignity. And there was not a pushback. A lie told 5 days a week. By Saturday, when you want to correct, they say, my man, where you been all alone?
Where you been all day? Yep.
And the people who were hear you on the weekend were not the same people who heard the lie before. United Party ran an effective
propaganda,
the shootery of lies. I don't reward lies with propaganda. To me, that's a
but Lloyd, don't forget now. Honestly, right? If you notice during the runoff, 2 districts were flipped in Monserrato that caused the election.
The outcome endorsement.
Yeah, even if they are Nima, let's say they gave UP Nima, but because of that fracas that happened, that outcome frac with that thing that happened, they affected because
and our carelessness. That was carelessness.
If you look at the votes, right? Even there was a district that Sir Joseph won. He won that district in Monserrato.
But George Weah lost it.
Yeah, that what happened. And then that the 2 districts that flipped, that district that Aqua was dominating, and then
that along that Gardnersville belt, right?
Yes, that caused. Yes, that one thing that caused it too. Because like it also too low. Even you guys, you Ben, 2 of you and Lloyd, you're involved in this whole endorsement. What happening? We can't go talk too much, but we know what happened in endorsement town, right? But now during Ellington, right? When Ellen met with Bronski and met with Weah, well, this time it flipped. They think when Ellen met when she met with Bronski, she said, no, the meeting's short. Well, Weah said, anything I'll do, man. So when they came on Weah time too, I thought Weah was doing the same thing doing endorsement. When they say they want to say, I'll take it, no problem. But Weah was being very, very careful and measured. So as a result, he didn't make too much commitment. I think it affected him too, because how he committed,
I think his team, and
endorsement, he was getting the district that he lost.
I think his team, again, I don't like to incriminate people, throw out recriminations against people. But I think we as team, you have to be uncomfortable in this business. I think they got too comfortable. You know, we got it. They're not taking it. I don't think you got to pride yourself in this business of being the person who can deliver the bad news to the principal as much as the good news.
Thank you.
And you know, a lot of times the problem that some of us run in is that everybody thinks you as a guy who's, you know, that bad news to bring it, but they need to hear it. I think we as team, even in Nima,
they lied to him.
There were not pool watchers in Nima. The only place we have pool watchers are in district. I think 3 or 5 where they had our fracas and all of that, where they handed the UP a bit of a dropping. Like, how do you concede a place that Nima with no pool watchers and you the sitting government? You know, like, how do you do that? And another thing, Mr. Cummings is, like, when people say he got money, okay? And while I'm not in his pocket, I've never understood for the life of me why since 2017, this guy did not build some sort of media empire to be his face, okay? UP benefited from that. Costa was the media guy.
And then followed by Spoon.
Spoon.
So where Costa dropped the baton, Spoon picked up the baton. Yeah.
You see, you have to look. Election year is almost
they still haven't learned yet. They still haven't learned.
Exactly. You know, election year, right? People voting. But if you haven't built the relationships and the machinery by then, you spend $5 million from now to 2028. It will give you more value than if you spend $6 million in 2028.
Even $10 million in 2028.
Yeah.
You are
so
right.
You spend it incrementally.
Yeah, okay, but then so Lloyd, so Lloyd, is the because I've heard this and especially coming from you, but I've heard this a lot, especially coming from media folks or media insiders, folks who could have directly benefited from, you know, ANC establishing a radio station. Did he really need to do that? Did the ANC did it need to establish, you know, a radio station? I mean, they have Musa Ability. Musa Ability has a radio station, right, or access to a radio station.
Yeah, but we don't have.
Let me say why.
That's how Musa won.
I think they should have.
But Musa was the chair of the CPP.
Yeah, but
but you're not running campaign for the CPP.
Yeah,
you're running campaign for himself.
To your point, Mr. Russell, they should have used it Madam Salif won on the backs of Truth FM in 2005.
I literally just said the same thing.
Yeah,
I just think it wasn't used strategically.
Mr. Taylor had a radio station.
Everybody who had become president.
Yeah.
It's the radio.
Is that it's not just
and radio is so cheap and easy to set up. So I don't understand why
radio is the way. I always tell people
because you know what happened. Let me tell you, when you have those young people on the radio in Grangie or in a Lofa or Nima or Maryland in the Leeward Pass, or even in Maserado, the Oscar.
Yeah.
What happens is that they are both empowered by you. They become your mouthpieces.
Right.
And people begin to identify them with you, so they have a vested interest in portraying you in a certain light. Right? So you already have campaign PR going on.
Every day.
People get to hear things about you, they get to know you. And I think he missed that boat. Look, Cummings was running against a sitting president, an icon in the country, globally, government, and a VP of the last 12 years who has also been on the political scene for the longest time. The establishment knew him. They we always like to work with people we know.
We know, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They knew him, they preferred him. So he was running against the tide. He had to have come in being prepared to fight. He came to a boxing match, but he was fighting heavyweights and he maintained his middleweight posture. That gave him some problems. I'm consoled by Mr. Gay's insistence that the CPP has turned it around. Hopefully there's something there. I mean,
so I want to ask a question.
Ben, before you come in, 30 seconds, please. Lord, everything you just said, you're spot on, right? Listen, we already know where we fall short. You see me come here every night smiling. It's not that it's going to be a walk in the park. We have to earn this thing. And it became this month. We were going to do this thing deliberately, intentionally, with everything we have. We're not going to wait for anybody to hand
maybe you need to be on a ticket.
That's how we're going to earn our way.
Talking about ticket, somebody asking Lloyd, there's a question for you.
Oh, Lloyd, they're going to put you on money by ticket.
What do I think about Cummings money by ticket? So let me learn from a very, very smart man. Mr. Gay earlier said that tonight is too early to start building these coalitions because it's too soon. Look, Cummings and Moneybar have established themselves as leaders in the country. What I think they need to do is what we started doing with Totman and WIA back in 2008 when we started that discussion. They need to take that message to the people. Right now, Cummings and Moneybar almost appeal to the same pool of people.
Same group of people. Yeah.
They need to expand it. So, however, and I don't think either one wins the election without some form of collaboration. Either you working together, you supporting the other person, however it happens. So they will need to work together. But as far as the ticket, I mean, if Mr. Cummings wants to consider being VP to Mr. Moneybar, I'm sure he would think about that.
So for the record, somebody just asked, who is this Lloyd guy? So Lloyd, you heard the jab he gave towards the end, right? Lloyd was the one who was.
Lloyd was the one running the campaign for Moneybar.
He ran the Moneybar campaign, the last Moneybar campaign. So, and knowing Lloyd, again, like I said, he was Winston Totman's right hand in the CDC arrangement. They ran against President Shirley. So Lloyd has extensive experience with Liberian politics. Extensive. Like I said, we go way back. We talk. We sometimes, there's so much that has happened. So just to answer that person question, but that you can understand the dig at the end, right?
That we understand that. Once he made that statement straight, he was
Ben, before you, let me ask Mr. Gay a question now. It shocked me that the ANC CPP did not have a response for our friend and brother Costa and the Spoon Gang. There was just flat zero response for the onslaught of negativity that came towards the CPP. There was no answer.
You're
Why
right.
is that?
Some people don't understand in politics. It's like when you're in a glass house, right? You don't throw a stone. But when you want to throw a stone, you get out of the glass house. Here is the thing, and I always told my people in the ANC, you are the one who is the salesperson. You don't make confusion with your client. The sales guy on the car lot, I'm going to give you an analogy, wants you to sign that paper. Whether or not you can afford your car payment, that is none of his business. Get to the financial team and fix your signature. He's done with you. Whatever financial agreement you come up with those people, they don't care about you. But here's the thing. I found some of my brothers and sisters within my camp, you know, telling people what car they drive, what house they will build, or what job they have here. They can care less about you with all those things. A man come after your candidate, you are going on the radio. You don't write it on Facebook. How many people are going to read what you're writing on Facebook? Right? The radio in Liberia, outside of face-to-face, is your best friend. Outside of knocking on somebody's door, outside of going to the community to talk to the people, the radio is your best friend. You're not in competition. You're not going to be on the ballot. You're not in competition with the person. You want to get your message across. But we have learned our lesson the hard way. I can tell you for a fact, the ANC of yesterday will no longer be the ANC of today.
Very good. So you keep saying you guys have.
Let me just say something here. First of all,
you guys have learned.
First of all, talking about Lloyd, let me tell you, most people don't know Lloyd. I'm happy Lloyd making an appearance today, because if you want to find out how that ticket, how Winston ticket, someone got on that ticket over we are, that's one of the men, man. Trust me, in Maryland too. Yeah? So look, but back and forth, Ben. Look, you guys have said it all. Coalition, we saw the Grand Coalition. What happened? It doesn't work that way, right? You got to build, like Lord said, start building it now. You start having this meeting, confidence building. It start from there. But if you wait till 2027, 28, you start, you're not going to get nowhere. And then one of the things again too, you need what they call a platform, like you need communication. Like Charles Taylor, KSFM sent it up to the presidency. Out it up with all his opponents convincingly, because look, they were well connected. He was talking about all the counties and everything. But if you just wait there, you give him policy speech and speech at all, it didn't work. Like people didn't work. That one, the posted Joe, we are dancing. They say, oh, that message, that Joe, we are communicating to the people.
I saw a lady explain about that. You were in tears.
People pick it up. You sing, people pick it up, communicating with people. But you with that, with the one speech you won't give, and think that all will give you, it's not going to work.
So thank you. So let me ask, I want to bring in another injection here that Lloyd talked about, I think, and Winfred also talked about. Let's leapfrog into a hypothetical situation, right? Of a couple of things. George Weah remains the 800-pound gorilla in the room. That is a fact. That is a fact. Everybody knows that. That's one of the reasons why in the last election, I kept telling them, y'all get him man his second term and y'all get him out of your system. So that way you kill two birds with one stone. You get Weah his second term, Joe Biden got too old to run in 2029. You get a chance to hit the reset in 2029. But they had other ideas. So with that being said, let me ask this question. You also, Lloyd, talked about a sexy, fancy, young candidate, right? There's been this conversation of a potential third lane, right? Where Cummings, Moneyba, everybody else, you know, where you have the UPCDC and Anthony Gade and everybody, right? Right? A potential third lane. I want us to talk about the potential third lane, Lloyd. I mean, from a strategy standpoint, with the opposition, is it not virtually and almost impossible for a potential third lane to survive without a collaboration with the CDC? Except you just want to come and say, you know what, I'm positioning myself to be a strong player in a runoff. I want your thoughts on that.
It's almost it's a challenge, right? Let's be fair. The guy walked in the room. He's the singularly most popular Liberian politician in the
Ever.
Detroit. No, not ever. Mr. Taylor will have a lot to say.
Mr. Taylor, no, you can't. Yeah, no, Joey, I said no. Yeah.
You know, and the joke always used to be when Charles Taylor comes CDC ain't got partisans. So, and he walks in the room right now with a command base. Look, whenever you have disaffected people and you have a populist leader, whether Hugo Chavez, Josh Weah, you know, those kinds of people, their basis, it's hard to understand. They're poverty stricken, they're down, but they refuse to be out because they still believe that, especially if this person came from where they are, they always
story,
can happen. And so you have to consider them. The problem Mr. Weah has is that there's a lot of distrust because of how he treated his last partners when he was in government.
Yep.
Right? So I think a pairing that comes now will have to be, you don't just get to pick the VP. We have a say in it and you make the ultimate decision.
So interjection, you're conceding the presidency to him.
No, but he was president before. If he's part of any collaboration,
that's what I'm saying. So is that what you're doing?
And I'm asking based on the question you asked.
Yes. Okay.
The prayer will be that he says he's not running and he lifts somebody's hand. We all know George Weah, you know. That's highly unlikely. But anything can happen. This is 5 years. A lot can happen.
And he has been president. So
yeah, he's president.
So what I think, Ben, is that I think we talked about this the last time.
Yeah.
The likelihood of a successful future bid of George Weah would depend on various factors. Okay, there are a lot of variables that would have to come together. I think positively to make it happen. I mean, including, of course, shifts in public opinion. How public opinion, I see him. It's okay. He may, I mean, they still love him. They still have this sort of this deep sense of nostalgia based on his football playing days and all of that. The performance of this current administration, for sure, and we as political strategy. I mean, what sort of political strategy is going to put in place? So it's not. Like a lot of people think that it's going to be a slam dunk, So there'll be a lot of things that have to come in place, to make it happen. As of now, I don't see it.
Okay, fair enough.
You don't see what? I'm sorry, Mr. Russell. You don't see what? You don't see Weah being a player in 2029?
Oh no, he would certainly be a player in 2029. I mean, but
so let me bring something in context for Winfred continue. So the last time we had a conversation here, Lloyd, Winfred and I think who else was on this call? Somebody else. Duke, very good.
Duke was here.
Winfred and Duke was on this call.
Well, PFO Duke.
PFO Duke, exactly. And the argument was
that's my candidate for District 17.
The argument was, Lloyd, that CDC cannot win another election with Weah at the head of the ticket. That CDC should literally, Weah should lift somebody's hands up, pretty much. They don't discount the fact that CDC has the numbers or the base, so to speak, like we're talking about, right? The clout. But they think Weah is wounded. Being former president, people will remember his presidency because the whole conversation happening about these polls that have been happening, right? People being going on the street. I think one time one of our guy went on the street also. So that's where that comes from. So I just wanted to refresh your memory, even just to give you a hint.
Yeah, I mean this is a great summation, Ben.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you see? Because mainly their argument was the two of them. Their argument was we should support Cummings. Cummings should go and be the standard bearer of CDC, and that's the only way CDC can win.
So before we are even support Cummings in the CDC, if that were to even happen, there's a lot of players in the CDC. People don't understand the influence that Carlos Gray and Jefferson Coaching didn't have on we are if he is to make that decision. But that's a different discussion. Look, there many days when I see we are clowning, dancing, when I hear him making music, I'm tempted to get in that school of thought that this guy can win the presidency again. But then when I talk to Liberians, I'm reminded that this guy is one election potentially away from there. Because you are agreeing we's weakness is
his strength. His weakness to us is his strength to his people.
Yes, his extreme playfulness is endearing to people. Look, I know people who say they couldn't vote for Judge Riyad, but they would just say, I just let the guy is this and that. And the
Just
more
to play Ludo.
you can deal with somebody, the potential is there. So I think in 2005 we made that mistake. When we hit the political scene, we said, like, well, it will not happen. By the time and Mr. Russell, a lot of the people voting for Mr. We didn't even see him play. It's just become.
I said it on the show that day.
He's just occupied the lore of the Liberian people, and we can fight to understand that he may not win an election if Liberians see that there is somebody that's likable enough who talks to them. He doesn't have to be as clownish as he is, but who can also deliver for them. Okay.
Exactly.
And look, one of the great communicators in our current dispensation that people can get annoyed with if you move the cussing is Yeke. Yeke is an uneducated guy who would talk about what's happening in the house and cite you rules to a T. He does his homework. He also understands that being on the side of government is against 80% of Liberian people. So I'll always be an opposition guy. Okay, he definitely survives in opposition cycles, right? You have to look, you can't discounting we are in his machinery. If we are, I will say this, and I hate to say it publicly because I don't want him, but luckily he's not a guy who normally takes good advice, so it's a good thing. But if we were to get a solid team that look, when we negotiated with the guy, you know why Tottenham eventually won out on Bromsky, even though people thought Bromsky was a stronger candidate. We is a guy who deals with people that he's comfortable with.
Okay.
So he saw in this guy a father figure who, when everybody was condemning him in 2005, took him under his wings and said, you are what you are because of the system we built in the country and not so much on your own. He never forgot that. You go to the discussion today and start, you can challenge him, don't get me wrong. But if you let him know, like in the grand scheme of things, he's still the guy that things revolve around. Even if he doesn't have to be a leader, you have a shot. You go into that thing saying, my man, you're too much of a clown, you this, you that, the people will not take you, you've lost it. And once you lose weight on Sunday, you're not getting back for the rest of the week. Okay. You ignore we are at your own political peril if you think that meant 20% of the base load. There are some people in CDC who will say, when Tottenham became standard bearer, we had to get we are going out to assure people.
Yeah.
They were vets, they wanted to leave. They wanted to leave. Cummings is a younger version and a less known version of Tottenham. Tottenham was known in Liberia. Cummings is a less known version, or younger version, less known than Tottenham, right? So, again, if we are laser hand in the CDC, you gotta provide a blessing. But for that to happen,
it's a lot of work.
The opposition needs to start coalescing and saying, okay, let's get a viable alternative to WIA, and then decide: do we fight him,
or do
we make it the second round with, or do we collaborate? Because I believe that somebody told me, somebody very, very solid, who opposed WIA more than anybody I know. If WIA and Jeremiah couldn't run, I would vote for Josh WIA. I look at the woman, then I caught myself, right? That is the battle you have. WIA is almost a guaranteed second round. WIA like Kobe Bryant. They get on the court, they got 20 points in the bucket already. They're looking for the other 10. So if you can say who in the opposition can stop WIA from going second round, who is the one person today? Maybe tomorrow, maybe 2027, 2028, we'll find that person. But right now it's WIA. So if he's guaranteed to go in the opposition, in the second round, then we need to start finding either a replacement. You can have 20 other people running, Modiba and Cummings eating in the same cup. This other person, that other person, I like the fact that Cummings now focusing on youth. Everybody talking about New Liberia, no throwing shades. But if you ignore the CDC,
Look,
if you ignore the CDC, to be fair, again, I'm not sitting here, Ben, you know how I feel about the guys. I think they missed an opportunity to carry the country somewhere. They messed things up. They misrepresent our generation. Having said that, though, I'm an athlete. At the end of the day, you count the points. The team with the higher points wins.
Yep.
No, okay. So here's my deal.
Exactly. I want Winfred to counter that.
Yeah. So here's my deal.
And when I tried doing it that day, you say I supported we are now I was talking. So I'm glad somebody else saying it.
No. I mean, I'm not okay. So hear me out. I'm not discounting the CDC, or certainly I'm not discounting the influence that Mr. Weir has and will have in 2029, and it's currently having in our current dispensation. I know for a fact, because many of you know, I have participated in a number of elections here. I've won, I've lost, right? So I do know the impact of likability. Mm-hmm. So likability plays a significant role in.
Some people say they didn't vote for you because you couldn't go to party.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You got a few more parties.
We got more Liberian in
you are yet done a few parties, my brother.
Yeah.
People would have been saying, not making sit and whole day to every party. I want people.
And that's the other side of Lloyd. But I tell you, guys, I was so. I mean, people tell you all these things. You hear stuff here and there, but I'll tell you guys here very quickly. So I was sitting here at home this Sunday evening. We've been around campaigning. I'm just talking the House of Rep, position I just ran for, So we're sitting here. It's a Sunday where we have just done campaigning. We're done campaigning and all that sort of stuff. So, the president of the Liberian community organization here called me. He said, "Billy, my man, where you have to come. You come to these guys." I was like, "Damn, man, I just go home. I'm so tired. Hey, man, just trying to find something to eat." I said, "My man, you gotta come. You gotta come. It's important." So I said, "Okay." I jumped in my car and I went down to this apartment complex, and all of these guys were there having a little session. So the guy said, "Man, some guys here who want to talk to you." So I went there, and all of these guys standing around and they're talking. They said, "My man, this brother, my man, and these are guys who had just moved here, younger guys." And the guy looked at me, I mean, that stuff, just deflated me. Who talking all of these stuff, people talking here and there, all kinds of different things. But this guy said, "No, you know what? This guy cool. I like this brother. I've heard so much about him, blah, 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 blah. But there's one thing that I don't like, and I'm not going to support him because this guy doesn't show up to our baby shower." I swear to God. And but of course I couldn't dismiss him or whatever. So so I know before a fact, voters, often favor candidates they find personable, relatable, they're not looking for policy-driven folks. They're not, so that personal touch is important. So so I do know that I do know the sort of clout that George Weah comes with. I mean, it's his football playing prowess that he has, and a lot of people look up to him. I mean, he's a celebrity. But I believe that why likability is a crucial factor in election. But it's also intertwined with elements such as qualification, campaign strategy,
But Winfred, let me interject quickly, and you can continue. Let's also leapfrog that even this issue of football and celebrity, what is actually now being said, right, is that even when it comes to governance, people are now saying that our first year was better than Joe Bucker's first year as a president. People, there are now people who are. There's a huge portion of the country. I mean, when you look at the conversations, when you're looking at sampling of polling, you're not going to poll 1 million people. You get a sample, you go into the marketplace, you talk to people in the banks and stuff like that, right? People are pivoting back to, in Georgia first year, he did Dome community rule. He did this. He did that. Liberian people, when it comes to the issue of tangibles, they like to feel and touch it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the food, the bread and butter issues are important. But I remind a lot of folks that you can't scare Liberian men with poverty anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
This notion that, you're suffering, so you'll vote for me. That's not a strategy anymore. Because the people suffering has become a part of, it's sad, but suffering has become a part of our mosaic, right? That people know. That's why you find people sometimes when they say, what have you done for me before I can vote for you, when you're talking about representatives and stuff like that. So pivoting back to the weird thing, right? The problem is, and I think you said it also, is that one, it will also depend on how the Unity Party governs. That's why I said that day on the show, and Duke wanted to chew my hair off. You didn't, but Duke wanted to chew my hair off. When I said if elections were held today between Joe Buckeye and George Weah, just based on the sentiment, just based on where the country is, Capitol building on fire, everything just look like nothing happening. I mean, it just looks like the country is on, like the country is in Wazoo. I mean, and people, that's why I say Liberians tend to remember the last thing. You see it happening every election cycle. After when Ellen took over, they say, during Taylor time, at least the Baby had $80 million budget, but money was in everybody's pocket. That's what Liberians say. During Ellen time, when things were she was trying to make things happen, moving things around, they say, when Gange was here, we had only $80 million budget. We were fighting war, but guess what? Money was all in the system. People were not mean. They used to say the Unity Party officials are very mean. Gange time, Gange during Christmas, Gange will go down on Ronald Street, tell everybody to go take gold from classy jewelry. Again, it's one of the things that I think Lloyd was talking about with the issue of this sexiness of our politics, right? Fast forward to Ellington, to George Weah time, when people started feeling the pinch in that first year, when the protests and all of that, they started calling on Ellington. During our time, all the international organizations were here, UN were here, everything was going well, so and so and so. You see it happening today, right? And the very Unity Party used the Ellen record to campaign in 2023, even though they bash her, but when you hear some of them were talking, at Unity Party time, we did this, we built that Jackson Dole Hospital, we did all this. So the reason I bring that up is to say, like what Lord was saying, and I would like him to come back after you close, Winfred, is to say, we have to, I think one of the first thing that people need to understand is where the people are. Like you have to meet the country where the country is. And if you're not able to accept that, at least, that's why I always say to my friends, there's the Liberia that we dream of, there is the Liberia that we hope for, and then there's also the Liberia that we have today. If you can't live in that Liberia that we got today, mentally, physically, strategy-wise, you're running up against a tide. So I don't know, I just
okay. So again, Tomalin, Ben, Anthony, Lloyd, and of course the listening and viewing audience. I am not discounting. I'll be a fool, and I'm not to discount George Weah and the power of the CDC base. But what I'm saying is that likability, and he's a very likable guy. you know, he resonates with people, he connects with people and all of that. But you cannot win. He cannot win the election in 2029 or whenever just on likability alone. It has to be likability combined with other things, other strategic tangibles. And he's going to be reminded, the Unity Party and other groups, they're going to remind people of how abysmal his administration was and all of the different things that they've done. So I'm not saying that this guy is not, will not be a force to reckon with, but I think if the CDC wants to get back in power, they should look at maybe a Moneybar or Cummings or somebody else fueled by George Weah.
Meaning George Weah don't run and he supports them.
Exactly.
Okay. Most seditions today, if George Weah doesn't run, that second choice is coming. Most sedition today.
The problem is,
but that's what Cummings right in
the problem is
the negotiation started.
The issue is most of those seditions. The issue we're dealing with is that most of those seditions want Weah to run. But with Lloyd, I want you to come in. Lloyd, I want you to come in. I want us to go back a little bit on this issue of, and maybe this will be our last kind of topic, and then we'll kind of just freestyle a little bit so we can close this thing up. What 20 we had to what 12?
Yeah, man.
What we do?
12.
We normally do 12, right?
Yeah.
So Lloyd, I want you to go back. I want you to take us in that room again and talk about this issue, the art of what I like to call the art of the deal, right? How you bake this cake, right? Because ultimately it's a process in baking this cake. How many eggs you put in it before it becomes too fluffy or it becomes too watery? How high or how low the heat is in the oven? The temperature. Who handing you the batter? Who handing you the spatula? All of those different things. You've been in that conversation. You've been in that room, right? And let's put Weah, Cummings, whoever, all these other players, because those are the initial. Maybe we'll call Apetoni if he decides to come from.
If
he decides to come from,
he's the ambassador where?
Japan. Yeah. If he decides to come from Japan, Lord, I want you to take us in that room to talk about that art, right? What needs to happen? You were talking about it, but I think you got interrupted. You were talking about the Kobe Bryant and all those different things. Because it's absolutely important that, like we say, we're in 2025. This conversation starts. Whether anybody agree or they want, play around with it, it starts now, right? Can you deep dive into that a little bit more?
So first of all, while the opposition has been quiet for the last year, not, as our people would say, not like voting government, they haven't been talking to each other, right? So they haven't even, nobody can get on the phone now, just call an opposition person from another party, let's do lunch, and just sit and talk about it. The post-mortem hasn't been done in-house. So that needs to start, right? Because before you get Mr. Weah in the room, he's an established personality, an established team. You got to know what you're bringing. What is Mr. Gonglo bringing? What is Mr. Cummings bringing? What is?
There you go. You're speaking to my point where I've been making to go out of this.
Right? So then you have this conversation, and are they honest with themselves? Are we running a forward-looking campaign? Are we running? Do we have what Bill Clinton calls inclusive tribalism, where politics is local and tribalized? You can fight each other, but that the hatred has to be taken away out of it. Mr. Weah was savvy enough to know that the intelligentsia didn't want him in 2005. He went back to school. People can criticize how he did it. He went to school.
He went back to school, yeah.
He got 2 degrees. Then they said, my man, you're still not ready. Begrudgingly, he agreed to be on the ticket. He lost. I think he did some things to contribute to that loss, especially in the second round in 2011, but that's for another day. But he lost. 2017, it was very clear. McGilden was clear that the board of people won, they were going with him. But then even at that, he still strategically took, for me, the NPP has been the most balanced party in the country nationwide. He went into that coalition with them and took them off. In 2010, when we were talking about the coalition, one of the things that happened was the defense team at the time was trying to reach out to Ambassador Tubman, to advise them with Mr. Taylor's defense team. So I had a discussion with him because we were concerned if we even had the discussions, what he would think since we were looking at a coalition. And he said, look, my man, you want to be president of Liberia, you just got a team what the international people want, but Charles Taylor popular. So that one, that yes or no thing, we got to look at it. It was a very simple answer, but it gave an insight into the guy's mindset. And look, I understand the challenges internationally, but it's in local. We 10 our men based off, we're in trouble, right? That discussion has to be there. Can we see Mr. Cummings as a guy who respects and appreciates him? Can he see Dr. Moneyba as a young man who respects and appreciates him? If WIA doesn't see that, you've lost it from day one. We can ignore WIA, but yes, what's happening to WIA's benefit? Mr. Boyka not talking, they're not running that effective PR machinery either, where they're putting them down. They're doing things that making WIA look like a hero. You're arresting people cheering in the street who can't even carry gasoline somewhere. You say they didn't want to burn somewhere. You're ill-treating them. Mr. Dillon, because of his own political selfish interest, is saying we were wrong to Mr. WIA, criticizing him with private planes. It's like you're prepping the guy up again. The opposition has to start now.
CDC already running with the ads.
Exactly.
Yeah, they already started.
All you see are clips from Dillon saying, President, we are sorry. President, we are sorry. Yeah.
So thank you. So the way to start doing it now is that how can a Cummings and a Moneyba collaborate and say, we're starting to do some activities in the country? Because you can't just blast out the government and do nothing. And you can't just do something.
You can provide solutions. Yeah.
Mr. Gay, one of the concerns I have about, not concerns, let me be fair, but an observation I have with the Cummings people is that they are very, very well-oiled machinery they major too much on the minor and they ignore the important things. How does Cummings and eventually Charlene, so I would say how do Cummings and Charlene, born in Nima County, and not highlight that doing a campaign with the size of Nima as an attachment to Nima? How does Cummings give Prince Johnson University money or Prince Johnson money for a university, and Prince Johnson can come and tell the Liberian people a year later? That would have been one of the biggest press conferences in San Nicola that day or wherever it was being held. The whole world would have known, because you are not giving it to Prince Johnson.
You're speaking my language, my man.
A Neverland guy. You are doing it because you're a politician.
Agree.
Okay. Business people,
and for the record, Lloyd, I'm cutting you off. Some of them ran away from it.
Thank you. Yes.
Some of them ran away from it.
They ran away from it.
They didn't embrace it.
Somebody don't even want to. They say, "Oh,
yeah, Anthony wants to
Prince Johnson, but he gave it to the school."
Yes.
How can you separate?
He gave a bunch of universities.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. My grandma used to say, "What's good for night, good for day."
Yep.
Okay. You can't look. I'm a guy. I love everything about Prince Johnson. In 2011, when the CDC wanted his endorsement, the old man turns to me and says, "We need to talk to Prince. How do you think?" I said, "Chief, to undo Prince Johnson's wrongs and harms, we need a presidency. I'm not going to stay in the way of saying that you guys should negotiate with him. You can't go give Prince Johnson money and do it secretly. You can't be born in Nima County and wait until 1 week to election before you talk in it. You should be in San Nicola telling the people I was born here, do my roots from Nima, from Bassa. I was born here, do my mom, my people from Maryland. You have to, so
like me, I was born here, give up."
Okay, so but again, Mr. Gay, your guy has to embrace the rest of the opposition. Okay, I think one thing the opposition needs to start doing is after the SONA, instead of issuing 10 different speeches,
maybe they come up with a unified,
yes, and give something. They're like, look, the beauty about the CPP, other than the early part of 1990 when the MPFL was together, the CPP was the most united thing in the Liberian body politics that we've seen. Okay. The beauty was that within a year, the Liberian people came, they knew the acronym CPP, they wanted that group. The opposition can start doing something now. But this disjointed way of operating and, that only one presidency, almost 500 and something appointed positions, and a future to protect. They can find a way to do it. I've always said the thing, and I will end on this, Ben. When we're having a discussion with Josh, I said to Josh and the old man one time, I said, look, if both of you can convince the other person, how you go convince 3 million people?
That's powerful.
Okay.
That's powerful.
Somebody has to be able to convince George it's in your best interest not to run again because they want to make it about you and guarantee that not only will we make sure we protect your legacy, you will be okay. Somebody, the things you fight for, but it's not a process that will happen in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It has to see and believe it that you can take care, protect the interest, the political interest. Will it happen? There's no guarantee, but you lose 100% of the shots you don't take.
Of course. But you have to talk to him or bring him on board from a position of strength, right? I mean, you have to have something to come to him with, I think
exactly.
A part of that for him to something for him to hold on to, something for him to embrace, because I don't think you can just come to him empty-handed. And by empty-handed, I don't mean you have to come in with cash or you have to come with something substantial, something tangible.
So Lloyd, let me ask a question. Winfred, I want to ask Lloyd a question. Sorry. Do you think the 2 players right now, or the 3 players in the opposition right now, minus we are, Gonglo, Cummings, Moniba, right? Gonglo party endorse Unity Party. So that's like you say, that's a net deficit right there with seditions, right?
The Gonglo, the party took a decision and the party.
But he attended the program.
He attended the program.
He was sitting there when they were reading. My man, Tommy, we here for that thing.
He can play with them. He do not ask for them. Okay.
But that's the same thing that Cummings did too, right?
Middle ground. Councilman Russell will tell you for free.
Cummings didn't do that. So let's. So I want to go back to my question.
I like 4 games. No,
right? Gonglo sat there. Gonglo was sitting right there when they read the statement.
Yeah.
The endorsement was made. Cummings did not even attend the program, right? He was nowhere around.
You were nowhere around.
That's a big difference.
Bystander Barrow was the one who was there, right? But the reason I'm bringing this question out to you, Lloyd, I'm trying to ask you this question. All these three individuals that we're talking about here potentially may have a deficit going into this conversation, right? Moniba did not endorse him. Moniba, and guess what? He quoted all of them, right? It's not like it's not like he didn't ask for it, right? He met all of them. He drove to Cummings' house. He met with Moniba. He met with many political leaders, right? None of them did endorse him, even though he was the sitting president, right? I want you to, again, former operators of CDC in that room know how the omelet is made. Charles Taylor used to say, in order to get mayonnaise, you got to break some eggs, right? Where does that conversation begin? How can they walk in that room, right, and look him in the eye and talk about that convincing that you just highlighted?
So I would say I will venture some here because eventually some of us may be part of it.
I was about to say, so you make me pull.
Be very measured.
Please be careful. I won't put you in trouble.
I would say this much. One of the things that we'll start with is that he's a guy, even if you guys have fought before, if he knows you and respects you or have liked you before, that's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
He would deny everything or act like everything he did wrong to you doesn't exist. Like y'all been operating smoothly, he been taking care, or fine. So, and sometimes you let him live on that island of delusion, right? While you re-ingratiating yourself in that space of confidence with him. So that would be the first thing, building that confidence back, starting the conversation. Another thing would be, look, because he's like Steph Curry would say, he's the king of petty. Okay, He may not tell you one-on-one when you're talking, but when people there, yeah, all the people that need me now, the time I'm running for re-election, I can't let do the thing. I'll be finished. They say no. That now they know my importance. If you had done it, then but I'm not president. You know the kind of talk.
Yeah.
So you got to take it off the table of him and say, look, my man, XYZ reasons why the reasons why we didn't go there. He can't be the guy you blame for not going there, even though he's the guy. You got everybody else got to help to take that blame collectively. But because he's already a bit chastened by the fact that he didn't endorse him, and this guy has an immense capacity to hold grudge, maybe matched only by Joe Boyka. No, seriously. So you have to know.
You know, President, we all watch this show. I just let you
So what needs to happen? Again, it's not an easy feat. Look, the three people that you call, they're not endorsing. Okay, it will be a challenge, but it's doable because the people the guy knows. You have to give him reasons why it is manifestly necessary, but more so for him. Why should a guy who ran and became president, who rose from nothing and became maybe the most accomplished Liberian globally and locally combined, okay, why should he come back and say, and I say, look, he started doing his projects in 2022. This government is riding on the back of most of those projects now. We're waiting to see the new ones. They're riding on them. So you have to give him something that makes him believe, look, these things will be accomplished. He will get the accolades without the burden of being president again, because we know that
I said, you got to come with something.
Yeah. And so, Ben, I said some without saying more, because when you in that room, you got to know how to.
I just realized. Let me withdraw my question because I won't put you in. Yeah,
my man, keep throwing the question.
It could be a lot of. And listen, and Lloyd, you know this game. So that's why I like. And by the way, you're a great addition to this.
But let me say something, Ben. Sorry, please hold the accolades, because I myself like to hear people praising me at times. No, one thing we shouldn't do, which the opposition almost fell victim to in the last election, right? Where we were so fixated on the strength of the opposition.
Yep.
We forgot that there was a government there.
Yes.
Jeremiah Kuhn is a shrewd guy that some of us are keeping our eyes on, even when we're sleeping. Okay? He's very shrewd. And so while we don't know yet what will happen with the Boyka machinery or whatnot, Kuhn and them are working. So you're working on two fronts. You're working to unite the opposition,
but you also
at the same token making sure that the government doesn't amass the kind of support that may be very, very challenging. Because a government with money who know how to abuse power, like Kuhn them are showing that they have an ability to do, okay, could be a challenge if the opposition is just a little bit, and that would be the challenge. And if we are insist on running, whether or not we like it, then we have to look at the real possibility of a lame duck presidency with him and a strong opposition that can move the country forward.
Tommy and George.
Look, Ben, the thing is that you, Lloyd, and I have been in a lot of battlefield, because we know what I mean. I remember they seen Lloyd during the time for Todman to come on the ticket. I remember it was between Todman and Bromskin. And they all Lloyd said, "We are love is you gotta be comfortable with you." I think it was the last minute. I know they say go call. They say your call Lloyd. Well, in Maryland, say call Lloyd. Yeah, when we call Lloyd at night, then say maybe friend, yeah. See that Pape recognized me. He said, "Look, you from nowhere, you became someone. People will look you, and you made yourself. The kind of accolades that he got, all this thing, right? And so." Looking in that way. So I thought Bennett was behind Bronsky, or seriously to get Bronsky the kind of ticket. So
I said no, I wasn't, because I wasn't alone about that.
I remember that we are on campus.
In the media business, man. Was in the media business.
Yeah, we did the debate. You remember?
We are on campus. You're on campus in Florida. So I think they did language law, and Bronski wanted to see him when they went there. So when they got there, then I bring document. My son. So we asked it. He said, "Bronski, put a glasses on his." He said, "Put glasses on." I said, "Yeah, right here." He said, "I got it one." He said, "Counselor, there's a coming approved it here." Oh, I flew away. So, but I don't know. The whole thing it was done. We knew that we are going with the woman, with Todman. But honestly,
so let me ask you guys this.
But Weaver, I just wanted to say this. Then you get coming quickly. But to his credit, and I always like to say this, he has shown that he is the only political leader in the history of our political dispensation to agree to go second.
Yes,
when he was the
popularity, right? The party was not happy. You saw Akara Jordan crying. Jordan Akara,
because of his own insecurity. He didn't do that.
They were against it. No, because at the time,
out of altruism or anything, it was because he didn't have any confidence in his own.
You're wrong.
I beg you, Tomali. Winfred, yes, why I think we make the mistake.
Yeah, right? I don't think so.
We don't recognize, sometimes we gotta recognize game in the other person. Now, politics is about how can I amass the most benefit for me, right? Some candidates knew very well they couldn't win on their own. They refused to come second.
Yeah.
So this guy said, look, I believe I can win this thing. But since the people insist that I get experience, okay, I will run at the paper. He didn't have to do it. He was still guaranteed going second round with Ellie.
Still was guaranteed to go second round with Ellie.
The guy was a walking second round machine. I still believe he has that potential now.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this.
The fact that he did that.
But something one time that made me mad, right? That year of Winfred, Prince Johnson, right? He promised. He said, "Look, we'll stick together." He said, "We'll stick together." So guess what? When it went for election that year, they were going to the runoff now. Only the found out that Prince Johnson will betray us in the end. When he betrayed us, it was weak. We just said, "Oh, no need," because the man he already gave us the sell to the people. Now, how come CDC not already put any kind of fight for the runoff? Because PYJ he promised.
The reason why that was important with him breaking away, it was not just Nima. The guy got a decent, I think 3 to 6% or so in Maserati.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what brought the Unity Party and the CDC numbers in Maserati very close. And when you look at the raw numbers at that point in time, his loss was a major hit. But this way I think can work. But to be fair, recognize he's got some value in the game and start working on him early enough. And there are other things to use that we will listen to that can make we are not run. The problem would be if we are not running now, then the opposition will start fighting for that space.
I got fear.
Okay, guys. Before we,
I got a fear, right? I got a biggest fear. I got a fear. My fear is this though. Right now, the guys are planning to infiltrate CDC to disrupt CDC. Now, we gotta be very mindful. My fear is seeing Kun, Prince Moi, Nukwe, and you name it, man, and follow them coming together to put the wish and attack on CDC. Now, how can I be stopped? How can I be prevented? Okay, to see that happening, because these guys the names are calling. They control the imposition. They control the in charge of the national budget, the national purse. They have access to the money. They understand they being the local politics. They are there. They are known. So how do you stop that kind of a attack that will come up to split the CDC especially?
Well, on this show.
That question you get answered publicly.
Okay.
But go ahead, Winfred.
No. I just
got enough money to pay for people to gain that advice yet.
No, I just wanted to, I mean, since you guys are in the room, a part of some of these conversations, I just would like us to think back then. Do you think, though, do you think it would have made a difference had Bromskin gone with Weah as opposed to Totman?
Yeah.
Do you think Bromskin would have won?
I think they would have won.
You have won. But I want Ellen Smalley for.
Yeah.
Ellen Chaklai.
But I don't think Lloyd will agree.
I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel, but I just want to say something. Remember that CDC refused to go second round. It's not like Ellen beat them that election.
No.
In fact,
y'all saw it.
Yeah, but you saw it right on the wall, bro. Right?
They advised to them. Ellen did not want a second round, so she did everything to stop it. Because the advice to George was, you didn't count on it. We didn't put this ticket together for first round. We knew you were in the second round. This ticket was put together so it could be Ellen versus Totman, the Harvard Law School grad, the Harvard MPA or economist.
Yeah.
The international person, the two diplomats fighting, that the country was really going to have a choice. Ellen could not afford that choice, just like she would not have afforded Bromskin. So what she did to destroy, because remember, before Totman, when she was fighting the Bromskin thing, Totman then, they didn't know we were in the running because we were talking behind the scenes. Totman had gone to Lainu, and Vani Sharma and the early machinery had gotten him expelled. So they fought him before. They had already fought Totman before. So then we said, then what we'll do is that we'll go to CDC, get in an agreement. You will join the CDC as a member, but we'll make sure we have people on the National Executive Committee because we still didn't trust them fully. That's how McGill them got in the National Committee.
Franco Grimes, all of that. Yes.
Exactly. That's how they got there, right? Remember, Jefferson Kochi was there then, but Jefferson Kochi came from Totman in 2005 as our assistant youth wing guy.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yes. He was assistant to Marvin Lloyd. When the endorsement happened, that's how we say he went there. So
we need to do a show with that history of all the political parties.
Yeah. So
collaboration.
Yeah.
I mean, that time, we still have web noses.
Yeah, I didn't know Coach you were from there.
Oh yeah, but Ellie got rid of Totman, they started calling him political ganga boy. And then I went to the woman chief. What's what you shall see your face. I mean, we're convincing ourselves too, right, that we would do it. The discussion started with George. I remember one night, George had good meeting. When you leave meeting with George, you think everything is done until you get the radio 30 minutes later. And why should I go second to somebody that got all the votes? The old man called panicking. In fact, I had a good meeting with Bromskin. So he called panicking. I said, "Gee, what happened?" When he got there, I said, "Look, George is the girl. Like you go to a party, you carry a date. That George, right? Bromskin, they just dancing with your date, but we carry the date home, chief. So let's.
I do. At the end of the day,
now I made that statement, all right. I immediately hung up and got on the phone to call Joy. I'm like, why you not do something? Because you're making a statement with gusto and with confidence, but you're also concerned because you know how fluid the process is. And the same way, so basically I'm saying that look, we have to engage. If the opposition cannot come together, let it not be because we didn't try. Government's got to get uncomfortable, right? Moneyback got to get uncomfortable. They got to stop being silent warriors and be more vocal with the Liberian people.
Yeah, but Lloyd, the fear may be what happened during the whole CPP process and what I mean.
We cannot be
to
make the phone call.
So that because of bad dream business, you're not sleeping.
I was gonna say that's a good analogy.
And yeah, why I always told people
you can one get what going on, they get broken heart. So if you know woman business,
yeah, why I always told people. Yeah, Ben and Councilman Russell. Yes, why I always told people if that phone call has to be made, it gotta be made by Mr. Cummings, not another surrogate, not another this other person. Yes, that gotta be somebody behind the scene coordinating the thing, but you pick up that phone, you muster the courage and place the phone call. Only two things can happen: yes or no. You didn't commit no crime.
It's again. Let's start this thing. Let me ask you something. I'm sorry I'm taking up your time.
No, go ahead. We 10 more minutes. So yeah.
Yeke Koluba was for Alexander Cummings. What Henry Costa was for Joe Boyka. They see Jacka Koluba baby milk in our town, Mr. We as president. They confiscated his pay. Why Mr. Cummings didn't draft the Yaka place? Go show solidarity, let the whole group follow him from there. Just so kind of cosmetic, but very, very.
My brother, you took the word from my. Let me say this.
Or Mr. Moneyback getting the car to go to Joe.
We will not deal with the spilled milk now, right? Nothing happened. I just told you
tomorrow morning. If Clarence Moneyback gets in a car, if George is in Liberia and he goes to visit him, they will not turn him away. If Alexander Cummings does it, they will not turn him away.
Yeah,
they got to get uncomfortable.
That's what I'm saying.
They got to get uncomfortable. People don't give you power.
And also,
and you have to earn it. I keep saying that.
You got to see it.
And also, one of the things, and when I say this, my friends from the ANC and the other opposition can always tell me, "Oh, Benny and your George Weah Benny." In fact, Duke said to me, "I adore George Weah. I watch him, George Weah." And and I'm listening to that and I'm laughing because I'm like, experience is the best teacher. Listen, you cannot be in as many rooms that I have been, come out of that room, have the kind of scars that I have politically from Liberia, and still think the same way, and still want to live in your own world. And still, like I always said, Winfred, like I was saying earlier, right? There is the Liberia we want. There is the Liberia we dream of. There is the country that we hope that, listen, we won't wake up tomorrow and we see everything going. But then there's the Liberia that we got where Richard Kuhn is saying he's speaker.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? There is the Liberia that we got.
And you go to Ghana where they got parliament there to
teach people that have to run and look at. I was listening to Richard Kuhn reading today. I was like, what the hell? The job of the speaker is to speak.
Put your left hand up.
Like Ellen said, right?
The first interview, Ben.
That the chick Ellen gave Edwin Snow. When Edwin Snow told, I think Ellen met Edwin. This is a quick joke. Ellen met Edwin somewhere. That time Ellen was, Ellen, public. I don't want to know. Whether you go up, you come down. I don't want you. Edwin Snow is at a program. Ellen shows up, and Ellen passed by Snow like June passed by July. And so Snow gives a press interview. Oh, you see the president is acting small. I'm still the speaker. She don't want to speak to me. President getting ready to get in her car. The press went to her. My president, what did we see just now? You didn't speak to the speaker. Blah, 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 blah. She said, but that's not my job. My job is not to speak. That's the speaker job. That's why they call him speaker. I don't speak. I do your work. I'm the president. So the reason I say that is to say, this is look. And so I tell my friends, right? That's what I was trying to tell Duke when he was talking all that thing. And look, let me say this. George Manning Weah. Yeah. Look, I have seen first ticket and I ran against Weah before. So just for the record. That's why I'm
2014.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling people. I have seen firsthand this man's the influence. I have seen firsthand how I have attended a CDC rallies, many CDC rallies. The last one, I have seen people faint. This is not normal. And Joe Burker is doing a heck of a job for George Weah, by the way, right now.
Yeah, he makes
a heck of a job.
Ben, right? only George Weah could have gotten Joe Burker to the point of being elected in 2023.
In 2023.
Joe Burker can get George
exactly. Weah. That was somebody said the two of them signed contract.
They need each other.
Somebody actually said the two of them signed contract, right? So what I was trying to say, though, and Lloyd, you were spot on with it. Whether, like you said, they have to get uncomfortable. And even in that, even with them getting uncomfortable, you literally have to go into that conversation with all options on the table. You can't go in that conversation with a preconceived and pre-mind and think.
Trust me, he would know.
Exactly. And like what Anthony, like you see, like what Anthony said, be working, doing your thing, be building your base, but continue the conversation, continue doing what you got to do. But at the end of the day, right? There have to be a recognition. That's why I say this is
Ben, because we as the only person in only Canadian Liberia so far I see that have his base. On a serious note, You got it. I will say this again. You got it. We are
A very strong one at that.
You got it. We are and you got it.
Very strong one.
I don't see nobody that have because you talk. I don't.
It's
Yeah,
not a
dog
Trump
hard,
issue.
like
It's
the
not a
guy
Trump
from
issue.
Vancouver.
You got people that will
And
say,
that's
no.
the
Yeah,
thing, it's
that's
not a
true. That's the
Trump
difference.
base.
Yes.
Yes, that's the
Trump
difference.
base.
It's
So
not
as a
a
They
result,
remind me of the Trump.
like
They
Law said
remind me
earlier,
of Trump supporters.
like Kobe Bryant. You already come to the game with already your 20 points already. That's just how we are looking. Come to any negotiation table. You already got people that are ready for him. He has an advantage. He come already with reaction and sedition that will just support him. That's about 35% of the electorate. He got it already. So now the negotiation, he comes with something. So as a result, it's not somebody who say, well, I'm gonna look for people. No, I mean, when you're out there, we sat down to the headquarters from 6 to 11 o'clock in the night, and thousands of people also. The people there, also. And we just there, what we're doing? We just there lecturing, right? Talking about the future, about the next term, what will happen next term. And when we came outside to go, I said, why did people stay outside? They were almost midnight.
And what did he say? What did he say? If I don't leave.
Yes.
In fact, the last day of the campaign, right?
Yes.
You know how they can suspend campaign 24 hours before election. And everybody got to clear the party headquarters at midnight.
Yes.
He made it his point in that meeting. Everybody was in the meeting that day.
Yeah.
He made it. He said, I have to leave from here. We got to get out of here. I have to get out of here by 10:30, 11. Because if I don't, we will be violating the neck. Because the people will not leave from here. They will not even matter what they say. People can't.
Yeah, but Ben, that's that celebrity factor. I mean, it's like that Taylor Swift, that Beyonce, that Oprah, that
I think we are beyond that.
He's beyond that.
He's beyond that.
He has gotten elected.
The guy is
beyond
loved.
that.
From you.
He's gotten elected. He's beyond that.
Court.
Look,
you understand?
one time, right? Let me tell you, Better G. I remember one guy. I don't want to embarrass the guy. The guy called on the telephone. He said, Tomalin, Georgia is a religion. He on the phone, on a current score. It's a religion. I'm telling you, it's a religion.
Yeah,
I said, it's a religion. I'm telling you. He said, the guy shut down the place. The people don't want to go home. They may shut the people down. I mean, we saw that they been going to the last rally. We got to get from the car because we're like,
I wanna. Yeah, it told me the story of phone. I think the story of phone.
Yeah,
right?
it's my phone.
And you know what?
Jordan, natural love for these people. Natural love.
Tommy had been to that was his first election in a long time locally on the ground, right? He had been. So I won all of them. I was telling him, Kev too are there. I said, I know CDC rally. If you ride in George Weah convoy and you rep behind a car where they open that corridor, Lord, you know that when that party when they get through, where they open that corridor and he passed through. The moment he passed through and I play close, forget it.
No, I said I follow Costa, right? What they put did?
Yeah, Costa was out that day.
They put a ring around you. They said they put a ring around. I think they put that the roads now. Put a ring around you, holding on point there. I said, oh my God.
They start coming in for him, believe it.
Oh my God.
I believe it. So guys, I think this is great. We're gonna continue the conversation at different levels. We're gonna continue to talk about I mean, it's almost 12. We're going to continue to talk about the different options, right? All of these things are hypothetical. We don't know what will happen. Like I always like to remind people, a month ago, nobody thought that we would be calling Prince Johnson the late.
I know, right?
A month ago. Nobody. Before that election,
I have a question. Do you believe that the bigger obstruction to our democracy? Do you believe that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, obstruction, I don't know obstruction is the word, but I know he was
the bigger obstruction to our democracy.
Obstructive figure.
Yeah, I don't know about obstructive.
I mean, even 3 elections.
I'm not a fan of the guy, but maybe you could say he furthered democracy.
That's what I'm going to say.
The guy
was democracy.
He won 3% election, gentlemen. That's why.
But again, that's the ultimate. Look, he was the ultimate game changer. What he could do for people, he couldn't do for himself.
Exactly.
Right?
To make himself president, he could make people president.
He made people president, and he realized that. And I must give him credit. And like I always say, Prince Johnson. I mean, there's a few political, and they are, people may call them evil genius. People, there's so many different adjectives people attached to people like Prince Johnson, Taylor, Ellen, Weah. People got different names. So Prince Johnson, I think one of Prince Johnson's greatest move that I saw that I didn't see coming was the move to make Jeremiah Kun political leader. And that's I think that's the genius of the man, right? Understanding the moment.
Was that a genius on his part, a genius move on his part? Or remember now, the sanctions compel that.
Well, no, but what I'm saying though is, but Lord, we have seen other people.
What choices did he have?
Yeah, but let me.
But Ben, before you factor in your comment, Ben, remember that on a Sunday, you and I had almost 2 hours call with Kun. Remember that day when he said that he told Cummings and he told Weah and he told Boyka and Cummings. He said AO2 cannot go on the same ticket. I will run. But AO2 go on the same ticket, I will not run. But he said, but then how come he was going to be in the race if two of them not going to be agreed?
Yeah, but that was after the fact when he became political leader, right?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is prior to that. Prince Johnson, Lord, to your point, where you say, okay, the sanctions, right? Prince Johnson could have still say, I'm giving my power to anybody. First of all, he was not running for president, right? He was running for senator. So he couldn't run for president in 2023. What I'm saying is the fact that he recognized that in order for them to have because I think even the plan was, even if we're not supporting Unity Party, we still need a higher leverage to go to the table. That was the plan. The plan was we're not just going to sit down and say, oh, we're just supporting CDC, right? And in the end, then we become okay.
Yeah, but you're giving you now $1 million or the $2 million, they would have still gone with Boyka.
No,
I think I don't know if they would have broken ranks. The people who are already on the ticket.
But before Kun got on the ticket.
I agree. I think CDC blunder. I think CDC are doing everything to keep Prince Johnson. Now, my thing is,
when people are just say when I do indulge, you believe.
I think that he was scanning CDC lead. I think the man on the ticket already. Everybody. But like I said,
the CPP did reach out to him, though, right? And Jeremiah Kun.
Yeah, but you see, Lloyd said, Winfred, gravitas. A wounded CPP reached out to Jeremiah Kun.
Wounded at the time, yes, okay.
A wounded CPP reached out to him. I was still distancing himself from giving him money and associated. In fact, that's why he mentioned the money business, because he saw them playing that. And now you game.
Yeah. So that was it. When he pulled that, went to Buckeye, and for me, I think, look, there are moments politically when people play that chess game, when they play that chess move. I'm sure towards the end of his life, like we heard on those tapes, when he started reaching out to Weah, when he started trying to say, you know what, I regret, what happened. I should not.
Yeah, I signed war crime executive order, so you have to tell we are regret.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Last time message where he said my son Labrador is on a stormy sea, and we are watching from afar. A last message sent to me.
But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting what happens the next time we meet here. We're gonna talk about the potential Nimba mix. What's going to happen? Is there going to be another Godfather? Nimba, the school has
the new kingmaker.
The school have what it takes to be that Godfather. I mean,
well, there are a lot of contenders though.
That's why I say you got different players now.
And because of that, I think what may happen. Anthony said he's back. Because of that, I think what may happen is great for the country. You will see a compulsion now to find regional candidates.
True.
Lofa alone can win. So the candidate who comes from Western Liberia may have to be able to have Western Liberia coalesce around him or her. Central Liberia, okay, that Bong, Magibi, Monrovia belt. Some kind of
have a political mind.
Does that candidate lean Western Liberia? Does it lean Southeastern Liberia? If Mr. Weah is still there, we know the albatross of the Southeast, may still be there, and then he fights in Maserati. So now I think we're going to have regional, and to Tomlin's point, maybe this is where you can say, his hold on democracy for now one region is broken. And because of the minor geopolitical schism off and on in Nima,
I don't put the Mandingo in the mix there too, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you have one person from Nima that can give you 50-60%.
We're not going to have that Queen Johnson
20-25% will still be a healthy bit. So now, because of the regional political configuration that has to start happening, right? You may see this third way with better leg up. The point is this, and to your ANC people, you guys are perceived to be the group that got money. You also are being told that you ain't know how to spend your money.
They know at all.
One of the challenging things is to make your money work for you while taking advantage of these things that are happening in the country or letting people quote unquote eat your eye.
Anthony, that one I
cool.
You see the code the man get that? Huh? Yeah.
No, because
I can't pay that code. Look,
because
man.
you can work the time, but not anybody that come and say they know what to do, you should get them money because y'all spend your money, but it didn't really work the way it was supposed to work.
It didn't work for them.
Relationship building on a local level.
No media, no propaganda. They had nothing.
Influencers also.
No influencers, yeah.
So okay. But Tommy, I saw Baba Bolu posted something today that he's getting ready to fight again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Inches.
What
happened to Stan? Because when I told you remember when I told you about Stan and you were making the
Stan. Why you're not talking about Stan?
No. But Ben, I will not say like the Lord, the Lord help. He kept something back. Okay. But me see something. When I in Liberia, when I had dinner with Malu, and Malu told me. As I saw it play into the speaker, they're trying to remove of Kofa. I saw it too. He had meeting with some people, right? And now, certain side, a particular side, he said he's not going to go on that side. I don't know, but I can't just push him away because he knows how to
disagree. I think he's
a
great mobilizer,
he's a great communicator, a mobilizer. Yeah. So you won't push him away. And my fear is, people they plan the guy. The poor plan the guy is to infiltrate the CDC, the UP folks and other guys that goes to infiltrate the CDC and cause confusion.
I'm glad you brought that up. We can end on that.
And cause confusion in the CDC. That is goal.
I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that. We can end on that. Right?
So the CDC got to unite. And
let me tell you what my position is on that. And that would be my position on it. And then we can kind of wrap up. I think it's a waste of time. And let me tell you why I think it's a waste of time. I think there's been several attempts to destroy the CDCs, quote unquote, break up the CDC. I think it's a waste of time. Yes, they may get one or two people. Yes, one or two people may leave. They may have a high degree. It's the same thing when I see people writing, CDC not lose Thomas Farah, so CDC die. And Sir Joseph may be going, so CDC die. And their person may be going, so CDC die. I keep telling people, and again, this is where people tend to say, oh, Ben, you let CDC be. Me, I go by record and I go by history. No former CDC chairperson who left that party has been able to wage any significant political warfare and succeed. The reason is because when you are a CDC chairperson, the identity of the party is what covers you. Yes. Right? That blanket that's over you, the reason you see sedition, they will flip like the light switch. The moment you say, I am a sedition, if Anthony Gay announced tomorrow that he's a sedition,
they will all jump behind me.
See, they will forget that he ever said anything negative about George Weah.
Yeah.
The same thing happens when CDC chairpersons and these big wigs leave and stuff. I'm not saying they don't have influence. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeke is a prime example, right? So I'm not saying the people who may leave or may not leave are not consequential. But again, as long as Weah is in the mix, CDC will always find a way. They will always find a way to keep the party and to keep that structure together. And so I don't buy too much into this. Oh, they're trying to break CDC up and they will do this to CDC because CDC is not necessarily those big names. CDC is that grassroots base that who those leaders, even Jefferson Koji, I tell people all the time, as powerful as Jefferson Koji is, let Jefferson Koji announce tomorrow say he's leaving CDC and see you still have that kind of voice. I challenge Jefferson Koji to say, I'm leaving the CDC today and see if he will have the kind of influence that he has today. So I don't buy into that.
I agree with Koji on that.
That they're going to break CDC up and do all that thing. CDC, George Weah, as long as he is the cloud over that party,
That's it.
they will find a way to coalesce. They can bring whoever they want to bring as national chairman, secretary general. They will find a way to coalesce. That base will not go anywhere because that base is attached to Mr. Weah, is emotional. And until that face can leave, then we can have a conversation. Those are just my thoughts on this potential plan by, maybe the UP or some folks in the UP to say they want to infiltrate and destroy CDC. I think it's a futile effort. I think, Ellen took Eugene Nangbe. I mean, there's so many things that have happened, right? Jacob Akoli was one sedition. All these, there's a lot of people who were sedition. And
other guys
and people thought they were Stem Stick Weah, right? And people thought when they leave, CDC will die. But you still have the CDC around today. So I think the Weah factor plays into that. I don't know what your thoughts are, but we can all close on that note.
You're right, Ben. And to that effect, Weah is the political leader I've seen, like, bro, when he speaks, he party listen. When he said, do not do this, so long it comes from Weah. They were angry when Weah said you're going to call to concede the election. We heard talks leading up to the time Weah made that phone call that they would not accept anything but to win the election.
Were you there?
Once we saw that, I got that group chat on fire. Look,
we were there. You saw the thing,
right? But guess what? All of that talk, all of the I could get post out on Facebook. Once we had picked up that phone and made that call, that was it. They all were saying, Noah, we can blame the other person. We're not blaming our leader. It's not Weah fault. That the people that we are in and are around Weah, they never blame George Weah for anything. And so, yes, Weah is that fabric that holds the CDC together. They are religious about it. They are emotional about it. Some people never saw George Weah play football. They unfortunate time to see George Weah play that when he went to the Ballon d'Or thing, and they showed some highlights about what he did on the field of play and all of that. And that's when some people even saw his highlight. But many of them did not see George Weah play. Like what someone all did, we saw him playing for PSG, for AC Milan, all of that. Argentina. They didn't see George Weah play, right? So, but the thing here is, and I want to end on this note, is that politics in Liberia, you have to be intentional about it. You got to be direct about it. You can't play safe with Liberian politics. Either you for or you against. There is no such thing called neutrality. And if anyone thinks that, what we did in the past 2 elections can be repeated, then we should forget about politics in Liberia. I always tell my party that we did some things that were not good, and we recognize those things, never to be repeated. We need to take Mr. Cummings to the people. There was too much unnecessary shield, I call it, a place around this man to not get in the trenches with the people. Yes, the message is good. Yes, no. Liberian man, hey, they come here for you. I don't want bother come here yesterday. We did 22 projects across. Yeah, hold on. Let me hear what this you're coming. We did 22 projects across 6 counties. Many people don't know about it. 22 projects across 6 counties paid by Cummings and his foundation. Many people don't know about it.
But maybe you should stay with philanthropy. But let me ask you. Let's assume.
So we need to do a better job than that.
Go ahead.
So let me ask
you want to ask Anthony a question? Because I want to try to close, and then you would close.
Okay.
Go ahead, ask a question.
No, it's more jovial, but also serious, right? Mm-hmm. Things for people to consider. If I'm Mr. Cohen, I don't pretend to be him because I haven't given his intellectual. I haven't assessed his intellectual prowess. I know he's a vote counter. He's won in a major county against a splinter CDC. CPP. That's how he at least became a senator. If he's running for the presidency, Mr. Boyka is not running, and he gets on the phone and calls Mr. Cummings and say, "Hey, let's have a talk and put a ticket together." Do you accept that meeting or do you say no?
We'll accept the meeting. We'll go to the meeting and talk.
But you know you're going to that meeting not to tell him to be VP, right?
Not to tell him to be VP.
Because he's a sitting VP.
Sitting VP. You have the same situation with Buckeye.
Yeah, but listen, we go to the meeting. Yes, what I do, man. I don't discourage any call. I come to the meeting with an open mind, but I also come with.
But I don't get you sounding. You don't sound like the ANC people.
Because I understand politics.
Also, you have better than your people.
I understand. Look,
But Ben, that
The ANC people are the one that are doing philanthropy. Eh?
look,
Because-
I understand politics.
Because that question that Lloyd just asked, I know more ANC people that you say it's a non-starter because
You go to
cannot be
look,
VP.
yes, what you do, right? I watch Shark Tank all the time, Ben. And I see politics just as business. Remember, I used the analogy with the sales guy on the left?
When you gonna start watching some like
Right? I watch Shark Tank.
You need to listen to more with my song. Listen to how to do it and think to all the things you're watching. Don't try not understanding those things.
No, hold on. Make I say this. You just heard from me. You're looking at a potential candidate in Grand Jury to run for the senatorial seat. You understand? Yes.
Against open.
Absolutely, I'm running against him. But let me just say this to you. First of all,
No. So you potential or you definitely running?
Huh?
You potential candidate or you definitely running?
All right, we'll talk about that one later.
well, you announced
Hold on. Let me just say this, right? But let me say this.
you talk about it again.
No, hold on. Hey, Timothy, you might like to. But here's the thing. When you,
Well, you say you running. You may ask you
I said we're gonna invite Manning George on the next and
when you come to a discuss, when you come to the table to discuss,
he ready. That me and Lord, he all here today.
You have to have.
Really?
Oh
You
Lord,
have to have an open mind. You have to have an open mind, and then given what that person present to you, you can counter that. Who knows that? At first, everybody, I know people discourage the idea that, Winston Tubman will ever be over George Weah. I know when that idea came about, they discouraged it to begin with, right? But you and other folks, Lord, were able to get me over the hump because the first thing you did was to allow the conversation to take place first. You understand? Mm-hmm. You allowed the conversation to take place. And within that process of the conversation taking place, you found a way to wheel yourself to the finish line. So if that phone call comes, I will encourage Mr. Cummings to go to it. Listen, you are a politician. And you cannot be able to have a conversation with other countries.
I can see you being sidelined.
You're sidelined plenty.
Let's go to Wilfred.
But let me just say this. All of that political correctness, all of the political expertise that they
no, but I have spoken in all fairness. Forgive me with the jokes. I have spoken with a few ANC people who are thinking in the same direction. That Mr. Cummings should go to these conversations now with all options on the table and look at all possible options. I mean, nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing there. You got nothing to lose.
But they should go. But let's go to Winfred Russell. Winfred, you want to go ahead and do your closing so we can try to wrap this thing up?
No, again, I think you all have said it. You all are expert at this Liberian politics more so than I am. So I do agree that the CDC power lies in its ability to connect with its base on emotional, economic, and cultural levels.
You
Extensively,
got milk, Councilman Russell. You got milk in the comment section.
Oh, okay. So I think that the CDC positions itself as a champion for ordinary Liberians. So, despite its divisive nature, but it has a very strong unifying force among, especially its loyal supporters. And it ensures its place as a powerful political and cultural phenomenon in the country. I mean, there's just no question about it. So I'm not going to take that away from them. I gave that to them. But to win in this next cycle that is coming, I think they would do themselves a favor if they were to look outside of their perennial candidate.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Mr. Scott, you want to go ahead and take us home?
Yeah, so thank you. I think it's been
make a commitment that you are now a panelist of the
I get too much positive feedback from you. So
people like your exposition.
You see, I gotta keep my options open to see when Mr. Gay will reach out to me, so I can go to Chan District and Zedru to do some work for him. But
or come to Minnesota next year.
I certainly.
We have 12 seats coming open. There'll be about 10 Liberians running.
You're working it.
Who can convince somebody who can change minds? Like, Lord, forget it.
Lord Scott.
No, so I think it's been a very good discussion. I think, obviously, we have a charge to keep. The Liberian opposition, we have an obligation and a responsibility. We've identified ourselves, raised our hands to the people as leaders of the country. Whether you're the political leader or you're an aide to the leader, an advisor, somebody within close proximity. And I think we've massively failed our people for the last year. You don't have to be condemning government, but you can hold government honest, right? Yeah. Yellow mission scheme in the country, all sorts of lie, nothing happened. There's fracas with the House of Representatives, nothing's happening. One misstep after another. After a while, people get used to that kind of, political ineptitude, chaos. We can't afford for that to happen. The opposition also has an obligation to be very, very robustly engaged with the people. This will be our fourth election, after the end of hostilities back in 2003. Mm-hmm. Today, we are worse off than we were back in 2003. In 2003, like we were buying petrol from the side of the road. Everywhere was dark. Places were impassable. But so other than the low development that has come, like things in the country are as hard as then. In fact, then, people will tell you, Mr. Taylor had an 84 or $67 million budget, but money circulated. Oh, yeah. So we have to start doing for our people, providing the bread and butter issues and answers. We need, our generation, the younger Liberians need to start looking from within the cadre of young leaders in the country that we can elevate. We need to hold people accountable. It doesn't mean blasting at them. Look, we need to stop looking for the perfect, okay, and perfect the mediocre. Like we keep looking for that perfect candidate. Guess what? We're not going to find it. But the mission remains perfect. To change the country, to do for our children what we benefited from on our parents. We had a semblance of childhood in Liberia. The children now don't have it. They start hustling very early because we've all collectively, whether by intent or by non-commission, we failed them. We got to start holding government more accountable. We can't be opposition with lie move when we get government job and we say I can't talk again. So if we're not prepared to pay the price, then let's leave the space alone. To whom much is given, much is expected. The opposition people, some people got the funding, some people got the contact. Let them put it together. I say about my guy, I say about your guy, Anthony, Mr. Gay. So, I like the discussion. Liberians are looking, they keep yearning for that leader. That's one thing I'm convinced about. Yep. Whether it's the listening audience or whether it's people, they're looking for that leader. Let us charge ourselves with the responsibility of collectively forcing them to say, happy, you'll sit down and find it among yourself. You ain't doing them with support the government and trying to make it better. But let's compel them to do something. Okay? Why isn't Cummings and Moneybar and Gonglo and all these people talking? Or why aren't they talking? because everybody just know I got to be president. Because on the birth certificate, it was bequeathed unto us that we'll be you know, we need to do that. And if we don't get the moon, we'll be among the stars. But we have to. When people thought it was impossible, I believe that we could get Weah to be number 2. We use some not conventional means. We thought outside the box. We can do it again. The man has been president already, so you can already tell my man he been there. So you don't walk into that meeting when we are not trusting you and you're thinking that we are stupid. He may not be the most intellectual guy in our intellectual.
I'm telling people that guy is not
But
stupid.
he's as politically savvy and as strictly astute as can be. And so you recognize his strength, and I think there are people that who can make it. And so many people running for president just need to know that not in the future.
Just let it be.
So guys, thank you. I think this is very good, very informative.
Oh, Lord Scott, enjoy you, man. Buddy, you
The great Lord Scott. The great Lord Scott. Well, man,
Thanks for coming, my man.
Ben and Tomlin, when I sent you guys a message about the fire.
Oh yes.
So
Tomlin, when y'all want to do it?
So I was saying, I mean, we got a weekend now, so you got to figure out which day you can make it a week.
So today's what? Monday, right?
This
We're already
Tuesday.
into Tuesday now.
No, today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. So anytime this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so y'all work with Tomlin and Peabody. They will because that's the main show that on the radio. In my view.
Okay. All right. Okay. You want both of them though, or just either one?
I mean, we come to a talk about the Capitol fire and all. I mean, first of all, I mean, well, but I ain't called put that professional put his friends with.
No. I mean, Boyka call them. They talk. I don't know what happened after.
Investigated fire.
Yeah, they did talk about it, but you remember you guys were. I'm talking the generic you, not you. But there were a lot of folks who were saying that they wanted to use. Apparently, they had their own motives why, but they wanted to use local professional, local talent to investigate the fire. Now, they did not tell me. We can ask them when they appear.
When a fire chief go on fire scene with propose to how you manage.
Yeah. So, but I do know that they they had a conversation with the president. Now, what happened after that? That I don't know.
Okay.
Well, guys, it was a great conversation. We're gonna be here again.
Thank you, man. Nice meeting you, Anthony, and nice to meet you, Lloyd.
Yeah.
All right, I'll hit you up tomorrow so we can
Welcome, Councilman Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, but Councilman Russell, you can bring the fire chief here so they can educate them more on fire prevention and other things.
Let's carry then to Zwedru the same way Richard Kun bringing Ghanaians to teach y'all. That I will go to Zwedru to teach the people.
I've heard something, and I was speaking on it. Can you imagine? It was a joke. My country is a joke. I'm joking. What?
After the fire, so everybody keep being that for a while. They have compromised this scene right there. Like, how can you go to this kind of place like that? But guys, good night, man.
Great seeing you guys. Okay, guys.